please remain standing as Indiana National Guard Chaplain Clifford Popp offers today's invocation.
Lord God, we thank you for the beautiful day you provided for us to enjoy today's race here at Indianapolis Motor Speedway. We pray for safety for the drivers on the track, for the crew members in the pit, and a blessing on everybody associated with this race. We ask especially for safety and protection for the men and women serving our armed forces who are away from their families at this time. Lord, thank you for every good and perfect gift you give us according to your will. And all God's people said, amen.
Race fans, here to perform our national anthem. Please welcome Corey Cox.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets' red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave.
Drivers ready to climb into their cars. This could be the biggest race of their lives if they win at Indianapolis.
I almost didn't get the ducked in.
There's something special when you turn out and you go down pit road and you see the grandstands and you drive over those bricks.
Indianapolis Motor Speedway is one of those racetracks that you look at and you say, how cool would it be to race there someday?
Just pulling in the tunnel's a big deal. Just being able to race there and say you've raced there.
There's so much history at that place, and it's such a prestigious event.
You think about the history of the racetrack, it would just be one of those that's a bucket list win.
The list of names that have won there, to add my name to that would be just unbelievable.
To be able to win at that track and kiss the bricks, it'd be tough to beat that, man. It'd be pretty incredible.
The greatest in the world have raced at Indianapolis Motor Speedway. As you heard the driver say, just adding their name to the list of winners would be incredible. Welcome back to Indianapolis Motor Speedway for some of the storylines we'll be covering today. Let's go down to pit road and start with Parker Kligerman.
Rick, Brennan Jones last year was 10th in points with 12 top 10s. But fast forward to this year, he now finds himself 18th in points with only 1 top 10. In the last couple weeks show why. They wrecked at Daytona. They got wrecked before the green flag at Kentucky, and then they broke a right front wheel at New Hampshire. This team is looking simply for a finish today. He will roll off 14th. Dave?
Hey, Parker, the fastest way around the track in qualifying today was to keep your foot on the gas pedal and to never lift. But that's not the traditional way that Elliott Sadler was used to. He had to talk himself into never lifting, and the self-talk worked. He's on the pole for his first time since 2014 at a very special place, Indy. Marty?
Well, Dave, the veteran Elliott Sadler has tons of laps around the Brickyard. Meanwhile, 19-year-old William Byron, his teammate, had never seen this place before yesterday. He told me, you know what, pretty intimidating when you come in, but the one thing he loved, the palpable sense of history at this racetrack. How did he learn how to get better at Indy? He went on iRacing. He said, it helped me with the rhythm of this racetrack. I think it'll make me better for today, Rick.
And DJ, that's one of the things that's so great about the Xfinity Series is you have a driver that's 20 years old, that's never seen the place, and another driver who's been here, numerous times, not only in the Cup Series but also Xfinity Series.
Yeah, exactly. And this package is 8 things different for all of them, so some of them don't know any different here today.
Well, it's time to fire the engines. Let's go trackside for the command.
NASCAR fans, it's time now for the most famous words in motorsports. Please welcome Blake Buell.
Drivers, stop your engine!
All right, fired up.
Just fired up, when you're ready. We can save a little fuel if you ask to.
Far and home.
An energetic command gets the cars fired up. The driver's ready to take on the 2.5-mile Indianapolis Motor Speedway. NASCAR on NBCSN is brought to you by Lilly Diabetes, the official diabetes health partner of NASCAR. Toyota, let's go places. And by Credit One Bank, the official credit card of NASCAR. Just coming to Indianapolis Motor Speedway is quite a treat, but how about your first time? Daniel Hemrick, Tyler Reddick, and a couple 19-year-olds in Cole Custer and William Byron, potentially kissing the bricks at the end of the day. Let's take a look at today's starting grid, brought to you by Lilly Diabetes. Up front, it's Elliott Sadler and Eric Jones, the 42-year-old out of Emporia, Virginia. That's first pole for Elliott Sadler since 2014.
Yeah, in row 2, we talk about William Byron. I asked him yesterday, I was sure that he had been here at some point in time. Had never been inside this place until he got here yesterday. Qualifies in row 2.
Back in row 3, it's Michael Annett and Cole Custer. As I mentioned, Cole Custer, a driver that has never raced at Indianapolis before.
Yeah, back in row 4, we see Ryan Sieg here. This shows exactly what this package is about, giving a driver like this an opportunity to start up front.
Back in row 5, it's Ben Kennedy and Ryan Reed. Ryan Reed, a 23-year-old diagnosed with diabetes at 17. His sponsor, Lilly Diabetes.
Back in row 6, we've got the 2 favorites of this race, the 2 guys that everybody else thinks they have to beat, but they're starting 11th and 12th today.
Interesting that we're saying the favorites starting in row 6. Back in row 7, it's Daniel Hemrick and Brandon Jones. Brandon Jones, a 20-year-old out of Atlanta, Georgia.
See back here, a Brickyard 400 winner in Paul Menard, and he's the only driver to finish in top 10 in every race here.
In row 9, it's Brennan Poole and Tyler Reddick. Tyler, another driver who's never raced at Indianapolis.
Ty Dillon here starting 19th today. This is his only Xfinity win that he has in his career. Good place to get number 2.
All right, DJ, let's chat with one of the competitors. Ryan Reed has said that it's okay to talk with him before the green flag flies. Let's dial him up on the radio.
Hey, Ryan, Dale Jarrett up in the booth. You have a copy?
Yeah, how's it going, guys?
It's great, man. Great race here this afternoon. I know that whenever they announced that they were going to run restrictor plates here with your 2 wins in this series coming at a restrictor plate track, of course, Daytona, a lot more banking, but you had to get pretty excited, right?
Yeah, man. We've been really good at the plate tracks and had a lot of success. And what better way what more successful could it be than going out winning the Lilly Diabetes 250 this afternoon at Lilly's backyard. They've been such a great partner. So it's going to be a hot one. Going to keep an eye on my blood sugar all day long. I hope we put on a good show for everyone watching at home on their Xfinity X1. It's going to be a lot of fun in here.
Speaking of your sponsor, home base right here in Indianapolis, I know it's been a busy week for you. Every time I've turned around, you're doing something different. What's that been like, and what would it mean to take them to victory lane today?
There's so many fans here, so many members of the Lilly family. If you look around, there's so many red shirts in the grandstands, and it's been so cool to hang out and meet a lot of them throughout the week and do a lot of really cool activities. Just really enjoy the moment. The Lilly, I couldn't ask for more support from Lilly throughout the last 4 years, and support them by going out and getting this thing at victory lane this afternoon.
Okay, bud. Thanks for talking with us. Good luck out there today.
Appreciate it, man.
We've mentioned many times how iconic this racetrack is, but also how about the size of Indianapolis Motor Speedway? 328 acres initially is what was purchased for $72,000. Take a look at some of the things that can actually fit inside. That's inside of this 2.5-mile track. Indianapolis Motor Speedway, Roman Coliseum, the Rose Bowl, Liberty Island, the White House, Yankee Stadium, Taj Mahal, Vatican City, and Churchill Downs all fit easily inside the infield of Indianapolis Motor Speedway. And there actually happens to be 4 golf holes that are inside of this racetrack, and I believe if we zoom in, there is a guy who is the worst golfer I know hanging out on one of the greens. Rutledge Wood.
Rick, don't act like I'm not fun to play golf with, my friend. Skill is a different set that I don't necessarily have. You're right, Rick, this place is gigantic. I mean, just think of all those venues you could fit in here. Originally, when this golf course opened in 1929, it was the Speedway golf course. There was 9 holes inside. It got reconfigured in the 70s and again in 93, and now there's only 4 holes inside here. But when you think about it, I mean, you can see the pagoda right over here behind me. But if you look to the other way towards the backstretch, you'd never know that you're inside this place. That's how big it is. And in fact, you can even find some of the old bricks. If you take a walk, maybe look through a few of the creeks like Rick and I did yesterday morning, you might find some yourself. And there is a little bit of a rumor. Now, this place closes down when there's cars on the track, but I've heard there's a chance there's 3 Cup drivers on the course today. I intend to try and find them and show them some of my skills. Rick, eat your heart out. I know you wish you were out here, buddy.
Rutt, I do want to say that plaid is okay on a golf course. Not so sure blue jeans work on the golf course.
Oh, I missed. I'm no Chi-Chi Rodriguez, guys. I'm going to work on this.
Very nice. Let's head back over to the What Why booth.
Well, just to be clear, Rick, that if that putt was close, then he's not an engineer. I won't calculating fuel mileage because I don't consider that close at all. But this rules package.
It was close for Rutledge.
Close for Rutledge. But we talked about at the Open, this rules package and that nose duck. I think it's time to go back in and take a little closer look exactly what they changed on these cars, Jeff.
Yeah, so if you look at the very front of the car, the first thing they did was they put the splitter back on that they had last year, a much bigger splitter, makes more downforce, makes the car stick to the racetrack. But the big change, Steve, the item you had in your hand before we went to break, these ducts take air from in front of the nose and they pushes it out along the side of the car, making that bubble bigger. So if you're behind this car, imagine you're able to pull up in it bigger because all the air is going to the side of the car.
And really, those are the items that the teams don't understand. They're brand new. This will be the first race we see that instituted. And also at the back of the car, they took the small spoiler off that we have seen all year in the Xfinity Series, went to this much larger spoiler with the dog ears. It really creates a lot more drag, punches a bigger hole. It's like following a tractor trailer down the interstate. You should be able to draft right up behind it. But to go with all of these aerodynamic changes, a big horsepower change.
A huge horsepower change. Over 200 horsepower they took out of these cars. And people say, hey, why do you take horsepower out? The last time you had restrictor plates on an oval, one person led the whole race. It was boring, no lead changes. Well, this isn't that racetrack. This is Indy, long straightaways, a chance to use that added drag and added drafting possibilities down these long straightaways. The better all the cars handle, the easier it is for all the cars to keep up. So you take that power away, make the cars handle better, and then also that lower horsepower allows you to draft up quicker. So the ultimate goal is to have a closer race, a race that we're accustomed to seeing with NASCAR at Indianapolis Motor Speedway.
Yeah, and Rick, while we always talk about drafting being the great equalizer at Daytona and Talladega, I don't think it'll have the same effect here. We won't see a 40-car pack, but I do expect to see many more passes for the lead and many more really passes throughout the field versus what we see in a standard Xfinity race here at Indianapolis Motor Speedway.
Yesterday's practice, I think, was indicative, but this wasn't something that we were expecting.
Uh-oh. Somebody's lost their hat before the race started. We understand it came off of one of the fans that got to ride around in the trucks with one of the drivers today in pre-race ceremony. So you can see it flying off there. This is actually one of the worst places over the years of papers and things like that getting on your grills, especially at the start of the race. But I'm sure that Joey probably didn't even know he had a passenger there, and thankfully it went away.
Somebody probably wanted him to sign it and get back to him. But want to take a look at today's track facts brought to you by Mike's Hard Lemonade. This race length, 100 laps, 250 miles. There will be a competition caution at lap 15, Steve.
Yeah, Rick, and the race is broken down into 3 stages. The first 2 stages are 30 laps each. That final stage is 40 laps. But the interesting part, the fuel window, we expect to see these teams to run north of 40 laps, which means they can run the entire length of each stage individually without pitting for fuel. So I think strategy is going to be a big topic of conversation as we see not only that competition yellow, but the stage ends, Rick.
We'll be keeping our eye on the strategy that some of these drivers will try to engage in as we see the pace car making the hard left onto pit road, leaving the field in the hands of Elliott Sadler. Green flags waving. Xfinity Series racing at Indy. heard earlier, Elliott Sadler, it took a little bit of coaxing for him to go wide open around this racetrack in qualifying. Now out in front of the field, he's going to try to hold off. It looks like a hard charging group. William Byron in the 9 right behind him. Xfinity Series started racing here in 2012. Elliott Sadler has never led a lap at Indianapolis in the Xfinity Series. That could change in just a few moments.
Rick, we were anticipating what these restarts, start of the race and restarts could be like, and we're getting a glimpse of it right here. We weren't sure what was going to happen as the leader got out front, but we've seen 2, 3, and almost 4 wide racing into turn 3.
Through the short chute, out of turn 2 and down the backstretch. Riding along with Ryan Reed and the Lilly Diabetes in-car camera. Looking back from Ryan Reed. It's Michael Annett just behind him.
That's the part of the race right there. You saw Paul Menard jump out really late. That's the thing you're going to have to watch all day long. When you make that move late, he wasn't able to stay on the bottom. Now Kyle Busch is going to take advantage of it. But when you make that move late, if the guy in front of you is not paying attention, that will ultimately be a wreck. That's a dangerous move, but one you're going to have to make with this package.
Well, and I think the protection of those moves, Jeff, is only going to get worse because you see Paul Menard. It didn't cost him 1 spot. It has cost him 2 and perhaps 3 spots. We talk about momentum. Well, when you put restrictor plates onto a race car, it takes longer to get them up to full speed. What that means is if you make a mistake, or DJ, you even let a guy in line, that speed you give up, it takes probably a lap to get back up to full song.
Yeah, a whole different mindset here today in the way that you go about this. You're not going to be, right now you may be a little bit cordial, but I tell you, as the laps wind down, you're not going to be that at all. And Jeff pointed out, trying to make that block or to make that move going into turn 1 or 3, you're taking a real chance there.
Saw Tyler Reddick get to the back bumper of the 62 of Brendan Gaughan and give him a shove. That's what NASCAR has said we're fine with. When they were at Daytona or they were at Talladega, they said, no, you can't lock bumpers. We don't want any of that. As we're riding along in the Ford Performance on board of Joey Logano, they said here, we're encouraging it. Go ahead and try to tandem race. Try to push each other.
Yeah, we're not sure if that's going to be able to happen. It's going to take really good circumstances and drivers really knowing what they're doing with their race cars to make that happen. But if you get in that position to help yourself and the driver in front, yeah, it's encouraged. And as we see what's happening here right now, I'm even seeing the outside work a little bit more. It's not really a second groove that's going to be there, but you can maintain there a little bit. And the reason I believe that is because they're running much slower. If you try to do that running 10, 15, 20 miles an hour faster, there's just not enough grip there to hold the car.
And DJ, a lot of people had raised eyebrows after Xfinity Series qualifying this morning when Kyle Busch qualified 11th, trying to come up through the field today. And there's a lot of debate, Steve, about what package you go with. Do you trim your car out, try to go for qualifying laps, or do you put a little more downforce in it, try and make it better in the draft? That's one of the big things with these teams trying to figure out this package sort of on the fly. What do you go with? No downforce and trim your car out, or do you get a little more downforce in the car to make it better in the draft? The 18 chose downforce in the car to make it better in the draft. We'll see if that pays off for Kyle Busch, as you guys talked about, everyone's favorite today.
Well, I really expect if they have downforce in this 18 car, it will show up on older tires, because while when we talk about restrictor plate tracks, Daytona and Talladega, we don't talk a lot about handling. But this is a reasonably flat, almost perfectly flat 2.5 mile rectangle, 4 90-degree corners that they're trying to run wide open through, Jeff. But as these tires age, I think the grip is going to go away and handling will come into the play.
I agree 100%. I think handling ultimately is going to be what you need. A faster race car is still a faster race car. We can see this is not Daytona, Talladega type draft, and this is not pack racing. This is trying to give the car that's trailing a little bit of an advantage down this long straightaways. You know they're going to give up some in the corners because they're the trailing car. They have less downforce. So trying to equal the cars out a little bit, and at the end of the day, handling is going to matter.
Well, you mentioned about trying not to give the trailing car a disadvantage like Kyle Busch, allowing him to try to make this pass. The other thing it's done is it's kind of taken, as we see the 21 of Daniel Hemrick.
Look at his grill, Steve. Look at his grill is covered with grass. Marty.
And Jeff, that's why they're coming down pit road. It's a factor here at Indianapolis. If you get too low on the racetrack, you'll see grass come up on the grill, and you can see that steam coming from the engine on the 21 car of Daniel Hemrick. Now, if they're less than 9 seconds behind the leader, he may not lose a lap here. We don't really know what's going to happen with the draft and if he will lose a lap here, but we've also heard the 48 of Brendan Poole say that he had his grill clogged as well with grass. Jeff, you've been here before. You know what it's like. Sometimes you get too low. That grass is certainly a factor.
Yeah, well, the problem, Marty, can be that you didn't get too low. It's the guy in front of you that got too low and shoved that grass up onto your grill. So he could have done absolutely nothing wrong and just be a victim of someone else's mistake.
Out in front, it's been all Elliott Sadler. He won the pole, and he's been out front 6 laps of the 30 in this first stage. Catch all the action of NASCAR on NBC with the NBC Sports app. Get closer with alternate camera angles, driver stats, and track information. It's the NBC Sports app. Gorgeous shots of downtown Indianapolis as well as high above the track. Our aerial coverage provided by our partners at Smithfield Foods. Let's go to Rutledge Wood.
Rick, I was right. The guys are out here. I found them. We've got Denny Hamlin, Kyle Larson, Ricky Stenhouse Jr. Guys, great news. I know you really like watching my monitor, but you can get that NBC Sports app and watch the whole time you're playing.
Oh, we got that going in the golf cart, too.
Of course you do.
Oh, yeah, that's a key. When we go golfing on Saturdays, we always have the NBC Sports app up, watching the Xfinity race, and, you know, y'all got a personal monitor for us today, so we're just going to invite you the rest of the round.
Well, why don't you hit? I know you were waiting for us. Kyle, you look like Paul Bunyan when you got up there. You really pulled that one. What do you guys, I'm sure there's a gentleman's bet each hole?
It's called bankery. Denny could probably explain it, but I bet a little bit, only $10 a hole. These two, they're pretty good, so they can bet on themselves a little higher. But I've been driving it good today. I was even for the first 3 holes, which is really good for me. Having fun though.
Rick, watch out! I think Ricky sent that one up to you guys. Is that straight? You going swimming on that one? Are you going to go swimming on that one? That one?
No, I took a little off of that, so I should be first to hit. I'll put a little pressure on these guys going into the green.
Like yourself. Hey, Rick, from one golf guy to another, you guys take it away.
Yeah. Thank you, Rutt. They have qualifying that will be taking place right after this race, so those guys still have work to do, but maybe squeeze in a couple holes.
Larson said he was driving it well. I hope that continues for later in the afternoon, I'm sure, right?
Exactly. Still out front, it's Elliott Sadler, William Byron running second. There's the top four right there with Justin Allgaier, and Kyle Busch has made his way all the way up to fourth now. So Kyle Busch, the biggest mover right now, at least toward the front.
And Rick, I think that's really the point when we talk about the 18 of Kyle Busch is he has been able to kind of break the pack he was running in and kind of close that gap, as we see Eric Jones trying to do the same thing there in that orange 20. Now the 18 is going to make a move. So as that orange 20, as he loses that drafting help, Jeff now running on his own, trying to put better lap times down than the leader to try to close that gap in on the front four.
Yeah, all you can do is try to draft up right now, but you can see a better car is still a better car. It's not like we've had pack racing, and you know, certainly Kyle Busch has been the guy that can pass people, and Eric Jones just kind of hanging on just a little bit. Hanley's going away.
Kyle Busch has been able to move up into the third spot, made that pass. Let's listen in on spotter communication from the 20 of Eric Jones.
It's obviously going to be a little busier than Indy is used to. Make sure you guys got very clean, defined spots of where one of you is going to lose them and the next one's going to pick them up so they don't walk on each other. 10-4, we kind of planned if we're engaged, we're going to talk all the way till we're unengaged and then go from there. Yeah, no worry. You guys are pros. It's just going to be interesting.
That was spotter coverage presented by Liberty Mutual Insurance, helping drivers worry less.
Yeah, interesting spotter situation here, Dale. You and I have both driven here, and you have two spotters because the track is so big. One stands on the front of the pagoda and the other on the back of it. And the guy on the back has to spot the back straightaway, and that's a long way from the front straightaway to the back straightaway. Very difficult to see.
Yeah, this is one of the places, Jeff, I think that I used the spotter or trusted everything he said, because you say he is so far away and the angles aren't very good as far as the high speed parts of the racetrack going into turn 1 and turn 3 for him to be clearing you much. So even though they're trying to do their very best, it's up to a driver to ultimately make that decision knowing what's around him.
DJ closing in on this competition caution in 2 more laps. Kyle Busch, as you guys mentioned, has made his way through the field, moving up very smartly as well. For the last 12 laps, he has been, the last 10 laps, he has been one of the 4 fastest cars on the racetrack. So that call to go with more downforce in the 18 car certainly working. We're riding along with Elliott Sadler, our leader. They're a little more trimmed out than some of the other JRM cars, but right behind him, William Byron, his teammate, they too went with that downforce stuff, and they think that's going to be much better the longer we run. It's bearing out right now. He's looking for the lead on his teammate right here. He said the only person we're losing time to right now, the 18 of Kyle Busch.
Right in the tire tracks of these two. Well, you saw them able to get by a lapped car. Elliott Sadler, William Byron, and Kyle Busch, the top 3. Kyle Busch trying to make it 3 wins in a row, not only on the season, but also at this racetrack. As you see, we saw Elliott Sadler move down and looked like he tried to get a little bit of a draft off that lap car.
Yeah, you're trying to get everything that you possibly can. All it takes is just a little bit of a sniff to give you a little bit of advantage. And what it does is not allow those guys behind you to get a run on you if you can pick up just a little bit more speed.
Rain was in the area throughout the evening and in the morning. So a competition caution coming up on this lap. We'll see when NASCAR decides to throw the competition caution, but that means a restart that we are going to have to see one more time.
And some of these teams saw quite a bit of tire wear, especially on the right side yesterday on a green racetrack. And NASCAR, as you said, they got the rain. Even though the Cup cars have been there, here goes Kyle Busch for that second spot. That's just a perfect move right there. And you know, he's very confident in what he had there, and all he needed was that little bit of open.
Yellow.
There's the competition caution. Elliott Sadler out front, Kyle Busch, William Byron, the top 3, Justin Allgaier, and Paul Menard, the top 5. Parker.
Yeah, just a quick update on some of the conditions these drivers are fighting. The track temps currently right now are 110 degrees compared to earlier today when they were qualifying around 82 degrees. Big jump, and we go on board of Ryan Reed, who's in 10th place, and you see that cockpit thermometer. It's 112 degrees. It's very humid down here, and it's affecting a lot of these drivers inside the cars in terms of fighting a very tight condition throughout this field as they drop back.
Yeah, this is one of the hotter racetracks, and everything that we talked about that NASCAR has done from an aero standpoint has completely hurt the comfort level in the car, because now that air is not flowing over the car, under the car, as much as it used to be. So even if you have ducts that are directing air into the car, it doesn't have as much air to grab to put that air into the car. So this is going to be a tough condition for all the drivers today.
Steve, one thing I was wondering, they don't have to come to pit road. This is a competition caution. They can come to pit road if they would like. Will we see everybody come now? You had mentioned earlier that the pit window was 41 to 44 laps based upon fuel.
Well, I really think it comes down to priority of the race. I wouldn't be shocked to see the 18 of Kyle Busch pit because the end of stage 1 does him no good. He's not running for an Xfinity championship. He's here only for the end of the race, where the 1 of Elliott Sadler, the 9 of William Byron, they may stay out. There's only going to be about 11 laps, maybe 10 laps to go to the end of stage 1. I think that old tires can hold on to track position, hold on to the lead, so it wouldn't shock me to see a handful of Xfinity regulars stay on the racetrack. But all the big Sunday drivers that we normally talk about, they'll probably be on pit road.
Steve, I know you brought your family. Bringing the whole family to a NASCAR race has never been easier or cheaper. Kids 12 and under are free for every Xfinity and Camping World Truck Series race on the schedule. Discounted tickets also are available for every Monster Energy Cup Series event. Visit NASCAR.com/kids tickets to learn more about free and discounted tickets for every event that is near you.
And we talk about handling. And even with this aerodynamic setup, it's still, the leader still has the most air on his car. He still has the best handling. So we'll see if Elliott Sadler feels he needs tires. He is going to turn. I'm surprised he's going to drag the field to pit road behind him, and everyone's going to join him.
I think everybody's a little bit worried about tires. Saw a little bit of cording yesterday. Not unusual for Indianapolis, so I think everybody's just playing it safe.
Mention cording for him. Actually, we'll get that after the pit report here. Go to Dave.
Elliott Sadler said, I want tires. The handling of my race car really isn't that bad, but I know that I'm abusing the right front. You see him lock him up. He's abused more than just the right front now. It'll be 4 tires for the leader, Marty.
William Byron, middle of your screen, said I need to be tighter, especially in 1 and 2, and that's where he lost second place. Oh, and Eric Jones has spun here on pit road, Rick. Meanwhile, the guys up front, as Eric Jones tries to get sorted out here on pit road, we've also got William Byron saying his car's a little bit too tight in turns 1 and 2. That's where he lost second place to Kyle Busch. Kyle Busch debated on a chassis change, decided against that, just 4 fresh Goodyear tires and Sunoco fuel. Obviously very good. Busch went from 11th to 2nd, and now is taking the lead here on pit road, Rick.
There you have it. The competition caution comes out. Drivers taking advantage of it. Kyle Busch wins the race off of pit road. Paul Menard moves up 3 spots. Brendan Poole 5. Stage 21, Indianapolis Motor Speedway. We have gone 18 laps in the Lilly Diabetes 250. Tour de France is on NBCSN. The peloton heads to Paris and the Champs-Élysées in the final stage of the Tour de France. Live tomorrow morning. That is at 10 a.m. Eastern on NBCSN. Let's head back over to Jeff and Steve.
Well, Steve, when driving a race car, it's not always about just being wide open. A lot of times it's about using your head and trying to find a way to pass. We've seen that Kyle Busch could make a pass. Well, watch what Kyle Busch does right here. Look how much room he leaves. He lifted really early. That allowed him to carry more speed through the center of the corner to ultimately make this speed. If you're doing the same thing that the guy in front of you is doing, how are you going to pass him? Right here, he did something different, got more momentum on corner exit, and that's how he made the pass.
Well, because the whole idea is, as we talk about, there are 4 90-degree corners. They're not all the same. 1 and 3 are much higher speed entries after those long straightaways. 2 and 4 are the end of the short shoots. I would assume even with older tires, 2 and 4 is no-brainer wide open. But 1 and 3, they kind of have to back the corner up, use a little brake. Shows the veteran behind the wheel setting up that pass.
That's right. That's why Kyle Busch is a Cup champion.
Hey, Steve, I know that we always like to keep our eye on all of the members of the teams, and I know that with the Pit Crew All-Stars, we're able to do that with 4 teams this weekend.
Absolutely. The Pit Crew All-Stars, basically, it's all about performance, peers, perseverance. Everyone has a great story of why they're in this garage, how they got to this garage, and this is a great list of 4. We have Joey Meyer, the spotter, who will be on Sunday for Brad Keselowski. Ryan Langley will change tires tomorrow on the 38. Joe Slingerland will also change tires on the 47. But Shane Wilson, the Jack Man, he's double duty. He's the Jack Man for the 42 Cup and the 42 Xfinity, Dave.
And he just helped with a 4-tire stop for Tyler Reddick. He got in and out on time. I'm going to hand this to you, Shane. Shane's from Edgewater, Maryland, and he got into racing because he loved kart racing. Yes, he was a swimmer as well in high school, but when it came time to choose between the two, he even had a time fast enough to make the Olympic trials. He went for racing, and he said that was a good choice because his buddies who went to the trials, he said they got killed. So Shane made a good choice, moved to North Carolina on his own, got hired by Chip Ganassi after going to one of the pit schools, and is now changing tires, as you said, double duty on the weekend.
And Rick, you don't think it's hot? That gentleman looks like he's in much better condition than me, and it's hot sitting down there in the fire suit. We talk about the drivers, but these pit crews as well, they need to stay hydrated to stay focused.
And track position matters, and Eric Jones in the 20 car, he was running 5th, came on pit road. Well, watch Eric Jones as he turns to get into his pit area. There's some contact right there by Brendan Poole, spins him around. So now with that contact, he's going to have to start all the way in the back of the field.
3, 2, 1, watch the 20 here.
And now the field approaches the Geico restart zone. Out in front, it's Daniel Hemrick and Kyle Busch. They are 1 and 2. Hemrick on the inside, Kyle Busch on the outside. Hemrick doesn't go. And so Kyle Busch able to get out front. And something was wrong with the 21 on that restart.
And remember, he was there because he had to pit earlier. He had to pit on the green with that grass on the grill. That's why he is where he is. And the 1 car back there in this mess, he was leading this race. They had a bad pit stop. It's put him back in the middle of this situation.
It was almost like he restarted in the wrong gear there and not getting up to speed, and then had to get it down to that 2nd gear maybe before he could actually get going. Look at this on the back straightaway.
It almost looks like blocking. We're seeing right now the 18 looks like he's driving out of his mirror right now.
Oh, Rick, it doesn't almost look like blocking. It's blocking. It looks like an IndyCar race, which is use the inside of the straightaway, take away that preferred line. So if a driver does have a run, you're forcing them to the outside, DJ, because then when he gets to the corner, that driver has to make a decision. Are they going to run in on the outside of you into turn 1?
Yeah, and I like my chances of making somebody go to the outside, that I can hold him off right there. But you can see all the way down against the wall on the inside of the front straightaway here.
William Byron taking advantage of following right behind that 18. William Byron running very strong. Let's listen into his radio.
Were you just being nice to the 1 car, or do you think that we couldn't get by him? No, I could get by him. I was just pushing him until I got packed under him, and then we just caught lap cars the wrong way. But I'm not lifted anymore as the run goes. I'm pretty much constant, just like the 18.
Well, did you see that run that William Byron had on Kyle Busch down that back straightaway? That is the intention of this package. If William can break even as we ride along with the Chevrolet in-car if he can break even through that corner, he's going to run him down. Now Kyle Busch moves to the left to try to take that aero advantage away from William Byron, but this is what the package is supposed to be, letting happen.
Yeah, and I think we heard someone talk about that. These junior motorsports cars are trimmed out a little bit more, and you can see that advantage working for them very well on the straightaway, but will eventually Kyle Busch's downforce package work a little bit better for him and be able to keep out front.
Well, he's got it timed right this time. Now he has a run, and he's going to catch the 18 halfway down the straightaway. Is he going to pull out?
He sure does.
Oh,
pass for the lead. Here comes William Byron, trying to go by Kyle Busch. As they go into turn 3, he's going to be able to take the spot away.
And that's it. That is the new aerodynamic setup in a nutshell. In years past, Kyle Busch gets out front, clean air, clear downforce, he's gone. William Byron rarely, if ever, has the chance to run him down. Now he has run him down. He has passed him. Now Kyle Busch has the advantage of the draft. He's going to run William Byron back down and try to pick a move on him.
And Steve, it's fun to watch these battles for the lead, isn't it? William Byron certainly not intimidated by the history of this racetrack. I asked him the biggest key today. He said timing passes. He certainly did that when he timed the pass there on Kyle Busch for the lead correctly. And he watched IndyCar footage to learn how IndyCar drivers made passes here, because he told me that's how we're going to have to make passes, just like IndyCar drivers would do at the end of a straightaway. That's what he did. And we talked about him not being intimidated. He's already won at Daytona. He's trying to win here at the Brickyard, and believe it or not, just 19 years old. This kid continues to impress, Rick.
Absolutely. And now he will have to race looking at his mirror, because he's got to keep his eye on that 18. Amazingly, it was back in 1911 at this very racetrack where driver Ray Haroon decided that he didn't want to have the weight of a mechanic on his car, because that's what they used to do. They used to race with mechanics on their car, but he didn't want to have that weight. So he put a mirror in his car so that he could look behind him, because he didn't have a mechanic to look behind him. That's where the rear view mirror was invented for automobiles, right here at Indianapolis Motor Speedway. And right now, William Byron is going to be looking at that rear view mirror, making sure that the 18 can't pass him. William Byron has been impressive The 19-year-old from Charlotte, North Carolina, has been able to stay out in front of Kyle Busch, and those two have separated themselves from third-place Joey Logano by a second and a half. A normal view, drivers serpentining across the front stretch and back stretch here at Indianapolis, trying to break that draft advantage that some are having out front.
Yeah, we see a lot of blocking going on for different spots throughout, and you're going to see that. And that's a prerogative that you have here. There's no rule against it. But the one thing that you might run up against at some point in time is a driver that doesn't appreciate that and decides not to lift it. He thinks he's far enough up there, and it's going to create a big problem for someone.
Rick, as we came to 2 to go and NASCAR closed pit road, I'm a little disappointed or shocked by the second half of the field. Indy is one of these tracks that the lap time is so long, the track is so big, you can come to pit road if you're within about 10 or 12 seconds of the leader and not lose a lap. And I think the top 10 are going to race for the stage points, which we understand. But when you look outside the top 10, whether it's Allgaier or Reed, Eric Jones, he's not really running for Xfinity points in 13th. Really surprised and quite honestly shocked we didn't see cars try to jump to pit road right before the end of this stage.
Would tire wear have come into play? I know that, Jeff, you mentioned that some tires were showing cords. Would they want to get tires here and then not try to skip one of these breaks?
I think you could potentially make it to the end of stage 2 right now. I don't know if Kyle Busch is making a run. I don't think he's got any power. I think he's just showing William Byron that he wants by, you know, trying to intimidate him. But you know, unfortunately we haven't seen the tire wear, so it's hard to put our hands on it and really tell that. But I don't know. I'm like Steve. I think if I was in 11th, 12th, 13th, I would have hit pit road with 3 to go.
They got to sharpen their pencils a little, Rick. You got to take advantage of all you can to try to outrun these two, because this stage win means a lot to William Byron. It might not mean as much to Kyle Busch, but this one playoff point is very valuable to the 9 car.
Yeah, we've seen Kyle Busch pass. Okay, but think about Elliott Sadler. He was leading the race, came in, had a bad pit stop. He's running 9th. He hasn't gone forward. He's going to have to find a way, whether it be on restarts or pit strategy, to try to find his way forward. He has not been able to do that just in plain out simple racing.
Could these guys be thinking, some of the crew chiefs, Steve, that, hey, let's not show that hand until we get to stage 2 and possibly get ourselves in a position then?
Well, they could, as we see right here. William Byron wins the end of stage 1. That is perhaps what they're doing, but I'm the advantage of, that's no secret. We've seen that strategy played before, so I don't think I would hide. That's not a time to kind of hide your cards. I would play them right from the start.
How about William Byron getting his second stage win of the 2017 season? He has had some impressive victories. Iowa, Daytona, now stage 1 winner at Indianapolis. Can he have the winning strategy today to be able to get to victory lane, potentially kissing the bricks? Free pass will go to Timmy Hill, driver of the 13. Timmy was the first car scored a lap down.
You know, Rick, William Byron and his team, like early in the year, they didn't look great. They looked good. They were solid. They weren't really winning races, weren't leading a lot of laps. But at Iowa, they all put it together. And the week before at Michigan, where he came so close to winning, and Denny Hamlin ultimately beat him. Since that point, this has been the best team on the racetrack as far as the Xfinity drivers. Something clicked, something happened, and they all of a sudden started having much more speed.
NASCAR Race View gives you access to features that let you follow your favorite driver just like you're at the track. Get live stats, leaderboards, driver, team communications, and more on any device. It's available now for an all-new low price when you visit NASCAR.com/raceview. Again, William Byron winning stage 1. Kyle Busch, Joey Logano, Cole Custer, and Brennan Poole were the top 5. Ty Dillon, Tyler Reddick, 6th and 7th. Once again, the heat is the story. On the left of your screen, you see the thermometer that's in this car, 112 degrees right now. And we heard earlier Ryan Reed saying, you know, I'm going to have to keep track of my blood sugar level as well. He actually has a gauge on his dash that shows his blood sugar level. So if it starts to get low, his team knows that they have to give him an insulin shot. And he actually has on his driver's suit a bullseye where they know if they have to give it to him, they will stick him right there in the bullseye for that insulin shot. Last 2 years, it's been all about heat at Indianapolis Motor Speedway. Elliott Sadler cooling himself off.
You know, these cars make the most heat when they're sucked down, and they're making the most horsepower as you go down the straightaway, and so that's creating the most heat. And this is, you know, we talk about short races here, but they're very demanding as far as the heat goes.
A lot of hydrating. Remember, drivers that are doing double duty, like Paul Menard, Ty Dillon, Kyle Busch, Eric Jones, Joey Logano, those guys will have to also qualify and then run 400 miles tomorrow. So they'll want to be taking care of hydration as we get ready for field making their way back onto pit road at the end of stage 1. So quite a few are going to definitely take another stop here. It was just 15 laps ago they were on pit road. Marty.
Rick, an interesting situation for William Byron, the leader who brings the field down pit road. They had an open key in their mic system, in their radio system, so they lost about a lap trying to communicate about the car. And I'm pretty sure William has never really communicated anything he wants done with the car here, so that's going to be hampering them, no doubt, on this pit stop. Also, Joey Logano said he's tight all the way around the racetrack except for turn 1, where he's a little freeze. And if he can fix turn 1, that certainly will help me. Going to be 4 tires for Byron, 2 for Kyle Busch, and for Joey Logano as well.
Differing strategy. 2 tires, 4 tires. We saw the race off of pit road. Kyle Busch able to get back up front. Joey Logano gained a spot. And that pit stop might not have been the best for the 9 of William Byron, but we still do want to talk to him. So let's see if we can dial him up, DJ.
Hey, William, Dale Jarrett in the booth. You have a copy?
Yeah, I've got you.
Hey, William, I talked to you yesterday as you'd made a few laps for your first time here. You said you'd never been here. Now you win a stage, you pass Kyle Busch to get it done, and then hold him off there at the end. What are your emotions right now?
Yeah, it's good. I mean, I knew we had a race car to do it yesterday. Had speed all weekend, so that's really good to see. So proud of everyone at JRM, all the guys in the Hendrick engine shop and everything. So just hopefully keep it up there. We got 4 tires here, so we should be able to knife our way through and hopefully get back up.
I was going to ask you about that call for 4 tires. Got you back in traffic a little bit now, though. You feel like you have the car that'd be no problem getting back to the front?
Yeah, I think so. I think got a fast race car and we're able to maneuver, so we worked on that a lot yesterday, and hopefully we can get through a few of these guys and make our way up there.
All right, thanks for talking. Good luck the rest of the day.
10-4, thank you.
11 years ago, he attended his first NASCAR race. It was at Martinsville Speedway, just north of his hometown of Charlotte, North Carolina. That jump-started his love for racing on iRacing, and now he's racing at Indianapolis Motor Speedway. NASCAR on NBCSN is brought to you by Ford. Going further so you can. Credit One Bank, the official credit card of NASCAR. And by Lilly Diabetes, the official diabetes health partner of NASCAR. Let's take a look at the stage results presented by Ford Performance. William Byron gaining 10 more points, as well as the one playoff point for that stage win. Cole Custer, Brennan Poole, Tyler Reddick, Elliott Sadler, and Matt Tiff all gaining some valuable points. Let's go back to the Stock Car Smarts booth and Jeff and Steve.
Well, Rick, we've talked a lot about this race and how it's been very different, but it's not been just us. We actually were checking in on social media. We'll see if we're clever enough to use all our new toys here. But as you go to Twitter, we see some spotters have some comment, Joey Meyer. But the one that really caught our eye is down here. Brad Keselowski, Jeff, he had a comment about the new technology and what he meant for the future of the sport. Very interesting for a Cup champion to be watching and commenting about this race.
Well, everyone in the sport knows that we need racing to be better in Indianapolis, and this is a package that's given some insight. Remember, a couple years ago, trying a high drag package on the Cup cars, it really didn't yield a result that they wanted. So now a high drag package with added drag, but also the reduction of horsepower. So everybody in the Cup garage is looking, saying, hey, is this something that we can do moving forward? And people in the Xfinity garage also are thinking, could you use this at other racetracks? Could you use this in an Xfinity car at Michigan or somewhere? So this could change the way that we race at some of these bigger racetracks.
And Rick, they've been warned. All of those drivers sitting in their motorhomes, if they put a tweet up that they wish the world didn't see, it's too bad because we're going to put it on television.
Hey, once it goes on the internet, it's fair game. Coming up to the Geico restart zone, it's Kyle Busch on the inside, Joey Logano on the outside. Green flag back in the air. What a great shot, fanning out as they enter turn one.
Logano got a great push there from Cole Custer. That could make the difference right there. Kyle Busch obviously has the fastest car, but it's all about getting that push that you need with the less horsepower.
Oh, he cleared him. There's no question he cleared him. That push was huge. Now can Kyle Busch get a big run and try to draft back to him? Joey with the big block. Now he's going to try him on the outside.
Here comes Kyle Busch to the outside, trying to take the lead back away. They're side by side as they get ready to go into three.
Yeah, don't try this at home.
Passing on the outside in Indy.
Kyle's trying.
Wow.
He's going to hang on now as Kyle Busch back out front. Cole Custer in the 00 on the outside. Brennan Poole in the 48 that was on the inside as they went through four. And look at him fan out again on the front stretch. Kyle Busch, Joey Logano, Cole Custer, Brennan Poole, Ty Dillon up in the top five.
How about Allgaier picking the outside lane right there, trying to push the three-car of Ty Dillon. That's something you would have never done right there, Dale. You would have never picked the outside if you had a choice of the inside or the outside.
Well, now as we ride along board with Elliott Sadler with the Chevy in-car Camry, he had a choice. Did he pull in behind his teammate, the 7 of Justin Allgaier? Instead, he takes the hard left down below the 20 of Eric Jones. It looks like it'll pay off. Eric Jones is going to concede the spot heading through turn 3.
Hey guys, something I'm noticing is something that we talked about before this race with these air ducts in the front, and that was that it's changed the complexion of how you side draft. And notice those drivers that when you normally see them get right on that dorsal, but as they come on the straightaways, they actually get away from that car that they're trying to pass. They're not doing the common side draft. You see the 48 throw a block there on the 3. They're not using that side draft the way you normally would, and this is what the drivers have been talking about from practice, and they're trying to figure out in the race.
Well, and I think that, sorry DJ, but what I was going to say is in years past, that duct would have been given to the team, DJ, and as a crew chief, I would have put it in my car, took it to the wind tunnel, and I would have handed you as the driver, here's the information. Here's where it's sensitive to side draft. Here's where you should put your car to pull another car back. But we've talked all week long, DJ, about these guys didn't get these ducts until here at the racetrack, so they have had zero time in the wind tunnel.
Yeah, and the drivers understand that huge reduction in the horsepower that they have to deal with, they can't be having a car near them. It's slowing both cars down, so it's making it even more difficult.
Dave Burns.
Guys,
we got a wreck on the racetrack. The 39 goes
You're
around.
still good right here. Come on. Keep going forward. There you go.
We saw the 39 was sideways. straighten back out again, and here comes Ryan Sieg onto pit road. And a lot of damage to Tyler Reddick.
I'm sorry. I don't know what I was thinking.
Rick, he was already in the back of the pack because they had a bad pit stop. A gun actually broke when they were changing the right rear tire. They had to replace that, went from 7th to 35th, and that's why Tyler found himself back where he was.
And, you know, at 21 years old, sounds like he was taking responsibility, Jeff, but these are the things you just have to take your time going up through the pack as we see Ryan Sieg, and I think that's Gallagher on the 23, the 39, just gets in the right rear quarter panel of the 23.
Did the 39 get in the wall a little bit before, like with the right rear, and then move down and get into the 23 first? I thought I saw the 39 move a little bit in an odd way.
It's been a rough day for the 39. He had to go to the back of the pack because being late to the driver's meeting and now running in the back of the pack gets in an accident. Oh, you see the
42 of Tyler Reddick. It was the grass that did all the damage to the front end.
Yeah, you can see there's no damage to Ryan Sieg's car there. He just spun. And Jim, I couldn't tell if he got in. It just looks like the 23 car moved up a little bit, kind of misjudged that just a tad, and Ryan Sieg didn't have enough time to adjust to that. Then Blake Cook gets into Ryan Sieg, and that sent him spinning.
Yeah, you have to wonder how much damage Blake Cook has in this incident as well.
Caution comes out once again at Indy. Welcome back to Indy. You're watching the Lilly Diabetes 250 for the Xfinity Series. Let's go to Dave Burns.
Pit road always a dangerous place, and on the last round of stops before this caution, coming down pit road, the 7 of Justin Allgaier got into his jackman Kyle Suter. Here's Kyle, one of the first guys off of the wall and going out to help service that car. But Justin is out of position. He's gone too far. The crew claims another car got into him, got him a little bit squirrely, and look at the fall that Kyle takes. He got back up. They completed the stop. He was cleared by doctors, and he's ready to continue to pit the car the rest of the day. But what a lucky break for Kyle, who went up and over and thankfully didn't land the wrong way. Listen to the radio afterwards.
Just so you know, the normal jack man, he's good. He's been cleared by the doctor. Everything is good. He'll be back. We were waiting on the doctor to come look at him, make sure everything was
was all good. 10-4. I'll be honest with you, it's the first time I've ever hit somebody on a pit stop. I prefer it never happen, but for sure be my last time ever.
Can hear the anguish in Justin's voice now. He also has to get back to work, back on track, focus, not think about what happened there, have the car come down and get pitted a couple more times and try to win this race.
Remember, pit road speed is 55 miles an hour.
Yeah.
That a few years ago, it was mandated that they wear helmets. Before then, they weren't even wearing helmets on pit road. So very thankful for that. 2002 is when they required the over-the-wall members to start wearing helmets.
Yeah, this the only place that I ever hit a crew member was here. I had the very first stall up at the turn 4 end of pit road, got in a little too hot and hit my jack man that day. Worst feeling in the world as a driver to do that, because it's totally in your hands and you feel horrible. You have to get focused back and be ready to race, but you feel bad about it.
A few more cars making the way onto pit road. We want to find Rutledge Wood. Rutledge, where did you end up?
Rick, I'm actually above turn 1. I'm in one of the spotter stand. This is a stand that a lot of the IndyCar teams will use. We know here in NASCAR they've got 2 spotters on either side of the pagoda. The thing that I really see up here is that you understand where the pagoda is and where those spotters are. We know there's one for turn 4, front stretch going into 1, parts of 2, then you got 3 and 4. The thing is, Rick, and what I wonder for, obviously for Burton and for DJ, did you have any real trust in your spotter? Because I'll be honest, they really can't see much. You can't see proximity like you can from the car. So how much trust can a driver really have with a spotter at a track this big and so hard to spot?
Well, Rutledge, I trusted my spotter until I took this job. And had I had this job first, I wouldn't have trusted them, because they can't see. I mean, there's the pagoda right there at the bottom of the screen. How do they spot turn 3 from there? There's trees on the back straightaway. I mean, they do a great job, but no, I wouldn't trust them if I was the driver.
Well, that's spotter coverage. Brought to you by Liberty Mutual Insurance, helping drivers worry less on the track and on the road. There's some of the spotters, and again, they'll be on the front stretch side and on the back stretch side of the pagoda.
And DJ, it's nothing like spotters having to spot through trees.
Yeah, no, and we can't move the trees because they're an integral part of the golf course, so we can't have that being messed up at all. But I think that you probably, there were certain places we went that I told my spotter, said, look, unless you're 110% sure, don't clear me anywhere. Make sure that you can absolutely see it. Otherwise, I'll take it upon myself to make the right moves.
And the golden rule for spotters and drivers, there's only one driver. If the spotter says clear and you make that move and you weren't clear, guess whose fault that was? The guy that was driving the car. Yep. That's the only way it can be. The driver has to take ultimate responsibility. By the way, the spotter doesn't go to the infield care center when you're wrecked. It's just you. So you have to take responsibility.
The crew chief really only goes to check on you. I mean, I've gone to a couple times.
If you like him.
Yeah, never riding along. I never had a reason to go for a medical reason. But, so it's funny. We talked about the 1 of Elliott Sadler and the 7 and how tight pit road is. Well, one unique thing when we talk about the updated schedules is it used to be you would qualify and then pick pits. Well, the way the Xfinity cars work, because they qualify right before the race, they actually pick pits based on last week. So it seems confusing, but hey, the 18 of Kyle Busch, he last week earned the #1 pit pick this week. That's how he's in pit stall #1. A lot of questions of why Elliott Sadler's in the middle of pit road. He was the pole sitter. Well, he'll get the fruits to his reward from qualifying next week when they pick pits.
The dangers of pit road. We just saw what took place with the 7 team, but how about the 20 on that first stop? Got tagged from behind, goes into his box sideways.
Hey, you see all kinds of things going on. It's, you try to do everything that you possibly can to get going as fast as you can. Jackman falls.
And the 42 of Brendan Gaughan, they're trying to get the right rear on. And
just to be clear, the 7 Jackman was okay after this vicious impact, but that would be the last time I jumped off pit wall today. He's going to go out and give it another shot. A little bit of mend and repair here to the right wrist.
Parker.
As I always think about pit road and talking to fans out there about the dangers of pit road and what we go through as drivers, especially what the pit crews go through, but I always think back to the first time I actually did pit stops. I was at Penske and I was learning with the team and doing some pit stop practice, and I was getting into the box real gingerly. I didn't want to hit anyone, and the pit crew coach turned to me and he said, look, get in this box as hard as you possibly can, because if we get hit, it's our fault. And that is the mentality that these pit crews put into the drivers, is that they want them to come in as hard as they can to get all the time they can, because it's their job to get out of the way of the car. And I know Justin had a lot of remorse for hitting him, but he knows and had the same coaching as me that at the end of the day, that's their job to be out there like that.
You know, it seems backwards, but because Indy has a narrow pit road, that's very difficult. But the length of the pit box, you think longer is better, but they're so long, Jeff, you can get lost. Very important for you to stop on the sign. Most tracks, if you miss the sign, you're missing it by 2 or 3 feet long or short. You could be 10, 12, 15 feet too short here and still be in your pit box.
And the other issue is, look how many cars are on the lead lap. And so all these cars are coming on pit road together. So we've seen every pit stop, pit road is full. And that has a factor too, because we've seen so many cars enter nose to tail, having to figure out when that guy in front of me is slowing down. That makes it much more difficult as well.
32 cars are on the lead lap. Aerial coverage provided by our partners at Smithfield Foods as they go through the short chute before we get ready for racing once again. Marty.
Rick about to go back green, and I asked Joey Logano before the race, I said, when do you think you'll know what this package will really bring? He said, ask me about halfway through the race. So we listened in to hear what Joey has learned. Take a listen for yourself.
You give double room on the bottom, we can get away. There's a little bit of air on the bottom. I won't try to pass them. We'll try to draft away. 10-4, I'll get one.
That was at speed under the last run. What he was asking is for Kyle Busch to give him a little bit of room. He said, I promise I will not pass him, but the two of us can pull away. So something interesting that these Cup drivers had learned with this package here in the Xfinity Series. We'll see if the 18 and 22 can do that on this run.
Well, we've seen pretty chaotic restarts, and I don't think there's a better place to ride along than to listen to the driver and the crew chief. So we're going to take a little listen to the 7 of Justin Allgaier here. He's going to start inside row 3, Jeff, so he's going to have to protect the bottom and find his way into turn 1. We're going to listen to spotter and driver communication on this restart.
Yeah, man, hammer down, go get him. Can't change lanes so after the start. Ready, green, 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 green. We have to protect the bottom at the line. 3, short spun out. Half back. You're clear low, just one outside. Clear up. Outside. Still out there. Still out there at the wheel, clear all around, clear all around. Wheel to wheel. At the door. Still out there, clear all around.
Allgaier making a pass on the outside.
Take the middle from that 20, the orange car in your mirror, inside. And you're going to clear that 00. You're all clear, all clear, all clear.
That was spotter coverage presented by Liberty Mutual Insurance, helping drivers worry less. Allgaier back up to 4th. Kyle Busch, Joey Logano, Glennon Poole, and Justin Allgaier, the top 4.
How about that blue and white car at the tail end of this lead pack? William Byron, remember he had that pit stop. He took on 4 tires. He was leading the race, came out in 11th position, and it's taking him this long to get back up to 9th.
Yeah, the thing that's impressed me so far is we've seen Justin Allgaier in that 7 car make a couple of passes in that second lane. Jeff, that's usually not something that we see, but I think the slower speeds allow you to utilize that lane a little bit more. I think it's going to be tough to do that to the leader or maybe second place car, but it's nice to have that as a tool.
It really is. It's all right there. The 1 car, Elliott Sadler, a great job of side drafting the 20, and look what it did to him. It pulled him back, and then the draft by everybody else is the 2 car making a big move.
Marty.
And Rick, you guys are talking about William Byron riding on board with him right now. Yeah, I think the progress a little bit slower than they thought it might be. In fact, Dave Ellens told him when they pitted last time, they took those 4 Goodyear tires off. He said, hey, tire wear looked phenomenal. I want you to use these things up coming up through the field. But that progress has been a little bit slower, so that just shows you they had the track position to start the race off with, but it's been tough sledding, even 3 wide right here, guys.
3 wide as they enter the turn. Ryan Reed on the inside, Eric Jones on the outside. Remember, Eric Jones was sideways on pit road. That dropped him all the way back. He was 30th at lap 21, so Eric Jones continuing to move forward.
So we talk about, you know, trying to block those runs. Well, look at the view. Jeff, you brought this up earlier about how difficult it is to see out of the rear of these race cars. So right here with this 360 Lilly's diabetes camera, you look out the back of the car, look how tall that red spoiler is. While this is maybe a little worse than the view from the mirror, it is definitely restricted for the driver out of this camera. So look above right here. You see how little view he has in that upper camera, or excuse me, that upper rear view mirror. You see a lot of package tray, a lot of rear spoiler. You cannot see a lot of the competitor behind, and we actually listened in to the 16.
They're stuck together all the way around the racetrack.
Yeah, no, I know. That's where I'm, you know, losing the guys in front of me and letting the guys behind me get to me, and they can just put a run together. I mean, it's like having a lift on exit of Daytona. You know, I mean, just as soon as you do, the motor takes so long to recover. So, just definitely our weakness.
And I'm a fan of that. I know that. You know, you want to have a car that recovers as a race car driver, Jeff, but I think it makes for better racing when you know you can't just let people go. You can't lift. You have to try to keep your momentum.
That's right. And you heard him talk about he can't carry speed on corner exits, just like lifting, and that means he's going to have to get himself in the middle of a group because he's going to be faster with somebody pushing him, but he's going to have a car handling well enough to take advantage of it. Dave.
See the 20 car. Oh, trouble, and Garrett Smithley's around, Rick.
Around goes the 0 of Garrett Smithley.
We'll need some tires, guys.
Down to the access road. And the 4th caution has come out. Only 12 laps remaining in stage 2. And about to the halfway point of this race as
Freaking 90.
the pace will be brought down once again. And fingers being pointed early at Mario Goslin. Mario, the driver of the 90, we'll see if that was actually the cause of the 0 going around.
Well, this sets up decision time, Rick, because we just talked about how William Byron decided to take 4 tires and hasn't come back through the field. So now these drivers have to decide if they want to pit or not. As we see what brought out the caution right here.
Oh, it definitely was the 90 of Mario Goslin.
Mario looked like he was trying to get in behind the 0 car, maybe stop the advance of that 78 of Tommy Joe Martin's, and just didn't time it right.
Take that.
So look right here, he's trying to get in behind the 0, just mistimes it.
And with this, Steve, any advantages with just 51 laps to go? Would someone chance it, come to pit road, fill it up with fuel, and see if they can go the entire distance?
Absolutely. 51 laps is outside of the fuel window, but you're guaranteed to have 3, maybe 4 yellow flag laps at the end of stage 2. So you have to start figuring that in. I mean, that's what makes the average crew chief get beat by the expert crew chief, is you know you're going to have yellow flag laps. You got to kind of have to guess a little bit how the race is going to play out. And we keep talking about tires, but I haven't seen tires make any difference. It seems like once you get to the front, you can protect, you can kind of be a little more on the aggressive side as far as blocking, Jeff, and keep that. We talk about Daytona all the time. Track position matters, even in restrictor plate racing. Well, here at Indianapolis, what has turned into restrictor plate racing, track position matters. So if I am the 18 car, I'm putting tires on right here, fueling my car, and perhaps not coming back to pit road.
And how many takers will there be coming to pit road?
I'm a bigger gambler than they are, Rick.
Yeah, not very many. Very few have decided to come to pit road with this opportunity. Stay with us. We're going to go NASCAR nonstop here from Indy. And welcome back to Indianapolis Motor Speedway. And we're at the halfway point.
Yep.
Actually past the halfway point now. What are your impressions of what we've seen?
I like what I have seen so far. We knew it wasn't going to change the cast of characters right up front, but it has brought a lot more people involved in this race. Going to get exciting before this is over.
I mentioned it was Stock Car Smart's booth. It's actually just a part of our booth. They're just right over here. But you guys are pretty smart, so tell us what's going on with this race so far.
Well, the first thing that's surprising me is I think there have been opportunities for drivers to get track position with pit strategy because traffic is very difficult. Look right here. This is side drafting at its finest. The one stopping the 20s run, Jeff, that's making it harder to come up through the pack.
It is, and then the 2-car here, Paul Menard, taking full advantage of that. It slowed both those cars down. But watch this block right here by Cole Custer and Ryan Reed. Cole sees him coming. He runs him all the way in the grass trying to prevent that advance from happening, but we're just halfway. What's going to happen with 5 to go when this block starts to happen?
And that's the problem I've had. There has been a stage finish that no one took advantage of. Now we have a yellow here that I don't feel anyone's taking advantage of. Rick, at some point, these crew chiefs are going to have to get much more aggressive and give their drivers some track position. They can't keep leaning on the drivers behind the wheel to earn it on the racetrack.
Well, and drivers that don't have a win yet, that are not locked into the playoffs. It wouldn't hurt to gamble. And some may have missed the opportunities. They come back to the Geico restart zone. It is Kyle Busch, Joey Logano making up row 1. Green flag back in the air. Two by two, all the way back. As they go through 1, the short shoot it into 2.
Justin Allgaier in that outside lane, that black number 7 behind the 22 of Joey Logano. He's been comfortable in that outside lane, pushing Joey Logano down the back straightaway.
Going to give him a shove, and the 22 is going to clear the 18. The Ford Performance on board giving us a great shot of that. And so now Allgaier goes to the outside. He's going to try to take the lead away. He does it as they go through 3.
DJ, that's impressive, isn't it?
I'm telling you, we talked about him coming up through and making, but I said I didn't know if you could do that for the lead. Justin Allgaier's got a great car, ready to use it too.
I was holding my breath, I can tell you that.
Trying to block.
That looked a little bit like a Truck Series move where you get beside the guy on his right rear quarter panel and take the air off his spoiler, and you saw Joe Logano get a little bit loose, and that can be a product of this big spoiler we have on these cars. Remember, adding all that spoiler also means when you get that air taken off that spoiler, it can be a bigger move and get you very loose like Logano did.
Justin Allgaier has now added his name to the list of drivers that have led a lap at Indianapolis.
But he has 7 laps to go to get to the end of this stage and try to win this stage.
Allgaier, one of the Xfinity Series regulars that has won. Only 3 have won this year that will lock themselves into the playoffs.
Now, just like Jeff pointed out a minute ago, as these laps are winding down, these blocks are getting more aggressive, and the diving into the corners is getting more aggressive here. See Elliott Sadler here now, right on the bumper. Yeah, he wants to push this, but he's going to try his very best to see if he can pull out and make a move at the end of the front straightaway on Brennan Poole.
And to the inside for the lead. Kyle Busch trying to take it away from Allgaier. Allgaier strong on the outside, though.
Yeah, and a big mover on that restart there, too. We talked to, a little contact there.
Bumping as they came off the turn.
Watch this 9 car. These cars running side by side. He should get even a bigger draft. Didn't pull up like I thought he would, though. The 18 spreading away from the 7th prevented the 9 car from using those 2 cars.
He might have made sure they were kept going straight. After what he saw in turn 2, he might have said, you know, I'm going to give these guys a little bit of room.
Oh, he can make it 3 wide right here.
Little wiggle there, and it is 3 wide for the lead. Still, Allgaier stays out front. Here comes William Byron. Byron moves up to 2nd.
Look at the momentum that lost him. Now Eric Jones and Jordan Logano pulled right back up.
Justin Allgaier, that's just so impressive, just to know that you have the car that's going to be able to get out there and make a pass or continue to run side by side with Kyle Busch on the outside through these corners.
Yeah, it's a great showing by Junior Motorsports today. These Chevrolets, as we ride on board in the Chevrolet onboard camera of William Byron, They definitely, from the first practice, DJ, this 7 car has showed speed. So whatever the plan was to match this aerodynamic rules package has really fit the driving style and the chassis setup on the 7.
Jason Burdett told me yesterday after the first practice, he said, I don't know what's going to happen. As we see here, Byron trying to go to the inside. Kyle Busch is going to try that outside line. But anyway, Jason Burdett, crew chief on this 7 car, told me yesterday, he said, I don't know what will happen. He said, but when we showed up here last year, we were a second slower than Kyle Busch in that 18. This year, we're running in the same lap times. You can see the racing this providing.
Yeah, so if anybody tells me stage wins don't matter, just tune in and watch. I mean, this is all about getting, it's 4 to go right now to get this stage win. Remember, Justin Allgaier, he's won his race. He's in the playoffs. These stage wins could help him win a championship.
Now he's trying to hold off one of the best, actually the best ever in the Xfinity Series. Kyle Busch has moved up to 2nd. William Byron running 3rd. Joey Logano 4th. Eric Jones is 5th. Elliott Sadler in that Chevrolet on board.
Now who will the line go with? That's the question here. If they go with Elliott Sadler, it's going to help him. But see, Ryan Reed tried to make the move, and that ultimately will probably help Elliott Sadler.
Once again, it was the 18 looking to the outside for the lead. And you see the wave there by Allgaier.
And out the window.
Allgaier's going to come to pit road.
Yeah, so the 7's got to come to pit road. We just talked about getting to pit road before the stage end. Well, here you go. All of these cars are coming to pit road now. They won't pit at the stage end. This is to try to get track position to win the race.
So they chose, even though they are a championship contending team, they chose to put themselves in position to win the race rather than win that stage. Dave.
That is the decision. Of course, Justin's been very happy with this race car. They will change 4 Goodyear tires. They will fill it full of Sunoco fuel. The long drive down, and now a little less chaotic as they will get to the car without incident and get Justin in and back out. He is over the line, so he's going to have to cruise back just a little bit. So another mistake on pit road today.
Marty. William Byron gives up the 2nd position to come down pit road. So with this Sunoco fuel and these 4 Goodyear tires, they can make it to the end of the race here. Going to be interesting to see if he can keep the strategy. Joey Logano also leaves pit road. He said he needs more grip in turn 2, and a little bit of an issue there on pit road.
The 7 has had an absolute disaster. We talked about trying to get to pit road, get the strategy, get track position. Well, he has basically given all that up with a mistake. You see the right front tire is loose. It's probably going to come off the race car, which is going to be a penalty. It's just gone completely bad for the 7.
This is the danger of being aggressive on green flag pit stops. If something goes bad, it can be catastrophic, Dave.
And Jeff, it's almost like he can't hear them because he even left pit road when the situation was happening. The crew was definitely not done, and they put their hands up afterwards like, what in the world? So I don't know if he's having communication issues, but it took him a long time right there to hear from the crew to slow it down and stop it. Marty?
And up front, Kyle Busch, the leader, has come to pit road here, got to pit road just under the wire before NASCAR did close pit road. Going to be 4 Goodyear tires for Kyle Busch. Sunoco fuel to make it to the end. Going to be interesting, though. He's going to be a little bit behind those other guys who pitted earlier. We'll see how that cycles out.
The reason Justin Allgaier left is because he was trying to stay in the lead lap. He knew if he left within 12 seconds of being in pit road or so, he could stay in the lead lap. He panicked a little bit. He tried to leave, tried to fix the problem that he caused by not pitting in the box. That's what started the whole problem. Didn't pit in the box. The pit crew started to do the work. They had to put him back in the box. Then he made the decision to leave, trying to stay in the lead lap.
And the problem is, we talk about a narrow pit road, but this is unacceptable. This is unacceptable for a race car driver at this level. A green flag pit stop, you do hundreds a year, and he comes down pit road and just purely, it's a mistake. He doesn't mean to do it, but he puts the right front tire on the white line. That's a penalty, and then you see him leave. It just continues to go downhill. But it starts with what you said, Jeff, not putting his car in the pit box.
He didn't get in the pit box, and ultimately, that's his fault. At the same time, the pit crew is supposed to catch that as well. The pit crew is supposed to look at the lines and not start working if you're out of that box. So the initial problem started with Justin, and then it continued with the crew chief.
And then once they pulled the right rear tire off, it's a 1-lap penalty.
And I'm sorry, it's not the crew chief. The crew chief can't see that. It's
right.
I didn't mean to say that. It's a tire changer. It's a tire carrier. They're supposed to look at that and call the pit stop off.
That's so difficult, though. Especially on the green. You would think that you were be able to, without a doubt, get that done. But hey, while all this was happening, we forgot about Elliott Sadler. He's going to win the stage.
Steve, let me ask you this question, though. Is it because they're so narrow that they want to give the Jackman room on the left side of the car, and that's why he was trying to get right up against the right line, that right side line?
It's not that narrow, Rick. There's really, he has 2.5, 3 feet to spare You know, he's just trying to do his best, trying to get the car pointed out. I mean, it was all for the right reasons. And I don't mean to pick on Justin Allgaier. It's a mistake. It's no different than spinning your car out on the racetrack. It's no different than as a crew chief miscalculating fuel mileage or calling the wrong pit strategy. I mean, the sport is about technology, but humans have to run the technology. And that right there, it's an unpopular thing to say. I like Justin Allgaier. He's a very good race car driver, but that right there is a mistake that has cost this 7 a chance to win a race that we just talked about. They were great from the minute they unloaded.
I had a chance to win the Brickyard 400. Come on pit road, we're doing 4 tires. I see everybody around me doing 2. I just drove off. We did our 2, and I said, I'm out of here. Left side wheels weren't tight. I made the rest of the race. But those quick decisions sometimes the driver tries to make in order to make the situation okay. In this case, it was the wrong decision. Just needed to sit and take your medicine and just do what you had to do. But that's difficult to do. Remember, he was just battling for the win of the race. It's hard to turn your mentally turn it down and say, okay, now I'm in survival mode. It's hard to go from winning mode to survival mode.
Well, and people are going to question the strategy, Rick. Well, why did you come and try to do this crazy strategy? But you can't race scared. You can't run a pit strategy scared. You can't assume you're going to make mistakes because your competitors are not. The people you're racing against are trying to take some more. And that's the example of just lack of execution. So it's been an up and down day for all of Junior Motorsports. We have William Byron winning stage 1. We have Elliott Sadler from Junior Motorsports winning stage 2. And the third Junior Motorsports of the 4 entries, the third one, Justin Allgaier, who perhaps had one of the best cars, is now out of the race.
Pit road. On pit road. Most of these issues have been there.
10 lead changes today for the Xfinity Series. That is a track record. So the new aerodynamic package, everything that they have brought here, as well as stages, have put that number up to a new all-time high. One of the other things that tire, if that tire came off of the 7, that's a 4-race suspension for the crew chief. So stopping on the track ends up being a very smart move that they don't end up losing their crew chief for 4 races. And here comes the field to pit road, led by Elliott Sadler winning that stage. Let's go to Dave.
And Rick, we'll see what they do on the 1 car. Elliott's complaint as far as handling goes was that the right front needs the turn back that it had earlier. So they will go to the 1. They'll start with 2. We'll see if they put on 4 Goodyear tires and get that Sunoco fuel in.
And Dave, big stage points for these Xfinity Series regulars. Brennan Poole winds up finishing 2nd in that stage. He slides to a stop almost too deep in his stall there. He said he's pretty good. When the cloud cover is over, he can race with these guys a little free. They're going to make a very small adjustment. Daniel Hemrick got 3rd place stage points after that stage. He said his car a little bit too tight, 1 and 2 and 3 as well. Remember, he pitted on lap 9 after that overheating issue. Nice recovery for that 21 team.
As we see the race off of pit road, everyone should be able to make it on fuel that has come to pit road now. And let's see if we can dial up Elliott Sadler, the winner of stage 2.
Hey, Elliott Sadler, Dale Jarrett in the booth. You have me?
Yeah, 10-4, Dale. I got you.
All right, man. Okay, the good news is you got another stage win, a playoff point there, but your strategy is going to have you back in the pack a little bit. What's it like out there being back with this package that NASCAR has brought here for these Xfinity cars?
Well, I think you definitely see a lot closer racing this year than what we've had the last couple of years. I think you have a lot of the same tendencies as what we've had in the past, but definitely a lot closer. This is a gamble I took. My crew chief wanted me to pit early. I kind of stayed out thinking we could get a stage win. So it's all on me. I put it on my shoulders. That's why Main Financial Chevrolet team's giving me a great car. Now I've got to drive my butt off and get us back to the front.
Well, we've seen you do that, put it on your shoulders plenty of times. Thanks for talking. Good luck out there, bud.
10-4, thank you.
Right now scored 20th for Elliott Sadler. Can he make it up through the field and get back up front, potentially win in 2017? NASCAR on NBCSN is brought to you by Liberty Mutual Insurance, helping drivers worry less on the track and on the road. You're watching the Lilly Diabetes 250 from Indianapolis Motor Speedway. Next Saturday, Xfinity Series racing from Iowa. That's on NBC. Coverage from the short track of Iowa Speedway begins at 3:30 p.m. Eastern. Go back over to Jeff and Steve.
Jeff, we warned them. We warned these drivers if they send out tweets, we were going to show them. Well, here we go. We got Landon Castle, who's decided he wants to join the conversation about this new package. So Landon Castle says he's loving this new aero package for the Xfinity cars here at Indy. He wants to try it in the Cup cars. Well, not this weekend, but you never know. This has been a great race.
Yeah, I'd say Landon Castle, get ready because you're going to have a chance to try this. The race has been much better. I think it's a sure bet next year, coming year, the Cup cars will have something similar.
Well, I think Scott says it's the best. Very skeptical. I think it's safe to be skeptical when you hear about these big changes.
Sure.
But NASCAR, we talked to Steve O'Donnell and the group a bunch. They have worked. They've been testing in the wind tunnel, testing on the racetrack, and that's how they came up with this package.
The teams have worked hard, put a lot of testing in it. The teams and NASCAR together collectively worked on this package, and so far, positive results.
Yeah.
Remember, here's the changes that we made, Steve.
Yeah, so let's review. The first thing they did is they changed back to last year's splitter. It's much larger. They added these crazy nose ducts, which add a tremendous amount of drag to the race cars and put the tall spoiler on the rear. And with all of that, took away a ton of power.
Yeah, a ton of horsepower, over 220 horsepower. That's allowed the cars to draft up. That's allowed the passing. That's allowed bump drafting. That's allowed things we don't typically see. We've seen passes on the outside, 3 wide, 4 wide. This is not typical Indy racing, which is what we need. We don't need what we've seen in the past. We need to see what we're seeing today.
And there's a lot to review for this upcoming restart because I was very vocal about strategy. I didn't think teams were being aggressive enough on the strategy. Well, then next thing you know, all of these cars to the front, they pitted before the stage end. We talked to Elliott Sadler. He's all the way back in 13th. So we have Kyle Busch, Eric Jones, Joey Logano, all at the front of this restart using strategy.
Eric Jones on the inside, Kyle Busch on the outside. 13 lead changes already. That number continuing to grow. Eric Jones trying to hold off the 18. Kyle Busch trying to use that momentum. Door to door as they come out of 2 and down the backstretch. And there's a run by the 22 of Logano. Let's see if he can do anything with it. He'll go right up the middle.
Yeah, not what we were expecting. We thought he might push the 20 of Eric Jones there in that situation. Three wide
through 3. William Byron on the outside.
Okay, so I'll give William Byron that because he'd never been here before and obviously didn't know that you couldn't do that.
That's why. Wow.
Ignorance is bliss, right? Unbelievable.
So what that did, though, this is the first time, guys, that we have seen the leader break away. 5, 6, 7 car lengths. So now this is the question I've been waiting for. Kyle Busch is a master at limiting mistakes. He has the lead. He has the clean air. Will that work as we see that continue to battle back in the pack? Can William Byron tow back up to the bumper?
Way out of the groove there. Coming through 2. A few cars back in the back. Again, there are 33 cars still on the lead lap here at Indy.
Yeah, and you question, can William Byron do this? I watched the second practice yesterday, and what I saw was a lot of cars teammates running together. All of a sudden, the 9-car William Byron gets out of that and finds Kyle Busch, and that's who he got behind. And a couple of times, he was a couple of car lengths behind and was able to go back to his bumper. So between his driving skills and the package they have at Junior Motorsports with this, you see he's already caught him. Learns quickly.
Let's listen in on the 9 communication just before they took the restart.
If we go another 20 laps here, what's your thoughts on tires? You think you're going to need some on the right, your moves going? Yeah, probably just right. I would say left because I think everybody will take rights, but I think, yeah, probably just rights and free up a little bit.
So, guys, we talk a lot about William Byron, and we know we're going to see this young man race on Sunday at some point in the next handful of years. What year can be discussed, but it doesn't matter. He has the talent to make it to the Cup level. Well, that was Dave Ellens, William Byron's crew chief, and I'm going to put my name in the hat that says that Dave Ellens will race on Sunday as well. He has been the engineer for the likes of Dale Earnhardt Jr., Jimmy Johnson, now has his chance as a crew chief, and that information, while under yellow, Jeff, talking to his driver where he doesn't distract him under green, That's the mark, DJ, in my mind, of a veteran crew chief. Already thinking about what the next move is going to be. It's like a chess game. The winner is 2 or 3 moves ahead of his opponent.
Not only that, but he included his young driver in the conversation. He probably had his mind made up, but it's always nice just to hear what the driver might say.
And in thinking ahead, what do you do here? Do you want to be the leader, or do you want to be the guy in second? I mean, we've never been in this situation. These drivers have never been in this situation. I think you want to be the leader, but if you have a strong car and you feel like you can draft up and make a late race move, do you hide that? Do you keep that to yourself and make that move later, or do you go ahead and make the pass? I don't know. I think the only people that know that right now are these 2 drivers.
And Jeff, I asked William Byron that before the race, and he told me, guess where he wants to be? In second, right where he is right now. He said, I feel like the man in second can size up the guy in front a little bit better. Look at him trying to get some air on the nose of that car. You know, he told me about the reverence he had already coming here for Indianapolis, and now he felt the history when he walked into this racetrack. He said, you know, after coming here, I really want to come watch an Indy 500. You know what I told him, guys? You better hurry up, because I think he's going to be running on Memorial Day Sundays pretty soon, don't you think, DJ?
Yeah, I think so, probably. Here's my thing, though. His thinking about being in second. If a caution comes out, I want to be in control of that restart. So if I can make this pass and put Kyle Busch behind me, that's what I want to do right now, personally.
It's Kyle Busch and William Byron out front. A year ago, Byron won 7 times for Kyle Busch in the Truck Series. We stay NASCAR nonstop. And welcome back. You saw it all on NASCAR Nonstop. William Byron, who was challenging the 18 for the race lead, has now dropped back to 4th. Out front, Kyle Busch. Then it's Eric Jones running second. Joey Logano is third. Take a look.
You can see right here, he didn't quite make that pass and complete it. Went down into turn 1, got extremely loose. And not only is it going to cost him second spot, but he fell all the way back to 5th at one point, having to work his way back. But I like his aggressive style. Hey, there's nothing wrong with that. Learn what you can do. There's still plenty of time in this race to make your way back up to the front.
Guys, as I watch this, I can't help but think to the Truck Series, where you have to protect that right rear quarter panel because you have those big spoilers and a lot of drag. And in talking to a lot of these drivers, I asked them that have been in the Truck Series, does this feel like a truck with how much drag they put on these cars and slowed them down? And so many were saying absolutely. But I don't think as many expected for that right rear quarter panel to be so important. And what you saw Kyle Busch do to William Byron was he squeezed him on that right rear quarter panel, took that side force away, and William Byron was a bit of a passenger at that point. We see that so often in the Truck Series, and something that some of these guys like Kyle Busch who have Truck Series experience may be using their advantage.
Kyle Busch, Eric Jones, 1 and 2. Logano, Byron, Sadler are the top 5. Dave.
20 of Eric Jones looking good now, but remember earlier in the race he had trouble on pit road and was kind of out of it, or you would think so. Crew Chief Chris Graveheart has worked hard to get his driver's mind back in this race. At one point, as you see him going, trying to get past the 18 right here for the lead, can't quite do it. Kyle will shut the door here, but he got his driver back into the game with a golf analogy. He said we have to play it where it lies, and it didn't lie very well for them early on in this race. Since then, Eric has complained that he thought the car was blowing up. It sounded and felt so bad. I couldn't hold it wide open earlier in the race. Now I can. What's the problem? And they're just going out and playing the ball where it lies, Rick.
Play the ball where it lies.
Yeah.
Well, right now, Eric Jones is lying just behind the 18 of Kyle Busch. He's got to find a way to get around him.
And Rick, as many times as you hit your golf balls in the woods, you know all about playing it where it lies, and sometimes you just got to play the next shot, right? And that's, you have to recover. You have to forget about the last shot and just move on.
I believe that's a penalty, Jeff. You giving me advice on my golf game.
Oh, it was an observation.
It was actually an accurate one.
I know.
For a second, Jeff, you know how this is. Anytime that you put restrictor plates on cars, and once you lose a little bit of momentum, you always, the first thing you think is your car, you've got an engine problem because it takes it so long to recover. And then if your car isn't handling and you can stay wide open, you're swearing that something's going wrong with the engine. You've lost horsepower. And once you get the car handling, it's amazing how all of that comes back.
DJ, you're exactly right. It's all about momentum. And when you get slowed down a little bit in the middle of the corner, it just takes forever to recover it. So you can see if his engine's blowing up, it's the kind of engine I want to have. That's, you know,
it's still pretty
hang
strong.
In there pretty well.
Still pretty strong. Kyle Busch and Eric Jones, they're 1 and 2. Drop a little bit further back through this field, and we'll see the 16 of Ryan Reed and the 21 of Daniel Hemrick. Ryan Reed, again, the sponsor on the hood of that Lilly Diabetes. Earlier, I had mentioned that if his blood sugar level was not in its ideal situation, that the crew members would have to give him a shot of insulin. Well, they only give him insulin if his blood sugar's too high. And by the way, those of you on social media, I have read all of your tweets. I do know that I don't know enough about diabetes, but insulin shots, if your blood sugar's too high, if it goes too low, then you need sugar. So that's what Ryan Reed is dealing with, and he has to deal with that every minute, every day of his life. He has to monitor his blood sugar level. And right now, Ryan Reed running in the 9th position. Still out front, though. It's Kyle Busch and Eric Jones running 1-2. NASCAR nonstop. Welcome back to Indy as we continue with the Lilly Diabetes 250. I want to listen into the 9 of William Byron and their radio communications.
22 says if you just give him a little bit of air off the wall and a little bit of air on the bottom, he will not pass once we catch that group.
Yeah, just trying to work together. You know, and we talk about the draft here, and that's what this was designed for. Now, these 3 cars, Elliott Sadler's gotten by Joey Logano in the 22, but the 3 of these cars work together and not try to duck out and make moves here. They can possibly, they're running some lap times that are a little bit faster than the 2 guys up front.
DJ, just one thing to note there about what are they talking about, give air to the front of that car in the corner. Well, what he's talking about there, and that's Earl Barton, William Byron's spotter, is that they want to get air to that left front headlight of Joe Logano at the time, because that can help Joe Logano turn the car in the center, have a better run onto the straightaway, and therefore help push the 9 in drafting down the straightaway. And the whole reason he's asking for that air is just simply to get that little bit of downforce in the front and help him turn.
Yeah, Parker, and I think the key to this, sorry DJ, I think the key to this is not this. I was getting ready to say they have the car in the front that they need. That 9 car has had the speed. So if you're going to run this pack down, have the fastest car in the front. Now, maybe the 1 car is as fast as the 9 car. We haven't seen that so far. But if I'm in this pack, I'm on the 9 car in front because he can pull us up quicker than any other car from what I've seen so far. Now, maybe that'll change, but I'm surprised Elliott Sadler made that move.
And guys, just talked to Dave Ellens. He said we're going to have the 22 to help us out to catch those guys. I think we will catch them, but eventually he thinks Eric Jones is going to have to try and make a pass for the lead to try and win this thing, and they think that's when they might catch those guys up front. But certainly they need the 22 in this pack to help the 3 of those get to the front, Dave.
And Marty, the 1 car of Elliott Sadler, crew chief by Kevin Mendering this morning, I asked him, did you get handling and straight line speed? In other words, make your car very slippery. They said, yes, I think we got both. So that 1 car in front, Jeff, that may actually work out a little better if he's a better puller. Right now, at this point in the corner is where Elliott is worst. The car wants to head toward the wall too much.
Well, they're definitely running them down. You can see the 2 cars in front of this group. They are definitely making ground on them.
Yeah, here's something that Elliott Sadler, 2 things Elliott Sadler has. He's got a little bit fresher tires. He pitted a little bit later under that caution. And the other thing that he's got is the motivation with the call that he made to stay out and get that stage win and the playoff point. That's motivation for a driver to drive harder.
Dave, top 2 are on pit road.
And the original discussion was that they could go to the end, but then they called Eric in. Fuel calculations done. They would not make it to the end. So with 18 to go, Eric Jones gives up 2nd place to come to pit road, Marty.
Same for his teammate Kyle Busch, and a few of these teams had talked about maybe splitting this window and seeing if tires might help here. Kyle Busch going to give up the lead and come down pit road. You see that 2-tire change. Sunoco Fuel to make sure they make it to the end. This is interesting, boys. We're going to see where these guys cycle out once this they get back on the track.
Yeah, but I'm shocked. You heard in the report that they did their fuel calculations and they basically changed their mind. By all the numbers we've heard all weekend long and the numbers I'm using up here, we expected all of these teams to make it to the finish. That's why I was encouraging everyone to pit before the stage end, DJ. But here are the 2 leaders who obviously their numbers don't work as we see another violation on the 20. You saw that rear tire bouncing away. Well, very simply, it's uncontrolled. It doesn't matter if they get it back to the right side of the pit box. You have to be in control of the tires that come off the car. Right here, the hand-in basically is what the problem was. It was a little slow. The tire rolls away. That's a penalty for the Chunny. None of the drivers doing. That one is totally on the crew.
Let's go NASCAR nonstop. We're on lap 87 of the Lilly Diabetes 250 from Indianapolis Motor Speedway here in Speedway, Indiana. Out in front, it's William Byron. Take a look at today's Toyota driver update. And Kyle Busch led the most laps today at 44. He is the only driver with over 300 laps led here at Indianapolis. Marty.
And Rick, you see Kyle Busch gave up the lead. He's back in 21st now. I did check in with Eric Phillips, ask him why they pitted. He said it was not a fuel issue. It was more of a concern for him for right front tire wear. He said, listen, we saw it come in 27 laps yesterday during practice. We had issues with the right front. So far today, we haven't seen that, but it wasn't worth the risk to me. I don't want to get Kyle Busch hurt if we blow a right front at Indianapolis. It's just not worth that risk. So they pitted more for tire wear. Now, also William Byron still on the racetrack as well. Here's what they had to say on the radio a moment ago.
Vibration's getting a little worse. Earl, just tell him we'll be ready for him if that vibration gets worse. A little bit worse. All right, man, well, you know, you're just going to have to call it on you.
And Byron is now the leader of this race. He has called in once since then and said the vibration is even worse since then. So obviously, Steve, as a crew chief, you're starting to now get concerned. Is that right front going to go on that 9 car? And was it a wise move for the 18 to come down pit road to play it safe?
Well, Marty, I'm glad to know that it was a tire thing because, Jeff, I thought our calculators were broken on fuel mileage, but this is the difference between a crew chief and us.
Straightaways, but the corners are decent.
And up in the TV booth, we don't have all the information. It seems like it's a tire issue. I think the crew is doing the exact right thing. I have never been a fan as the crew chief making this decision. Support the driver. Support this 19-year-old. If it's up to you as a driver, Jeff, when you hear very bad on the straightaway is not as bad in the corner, where does that put you?
It's an impossible decision. It is so difficult because you've pitted so many times with a problem in a vibration, and they take the tire off, and there's nothing wrong with it. So that makes the next time you don't want to pit. So that is a very difficult situation for a driver. You would love to have a definitive answer, but there isn't one. The only time it's definitive is when it blows out. So this is a tough position. Remember, he's never been here before. He's trying to win a race at Indianapolis Motor Speedway with the fear of a tire blowing out. That is a tough time to make a decision.
And Jeff, it's every lap. William Byron has said once again it's getting worse, and that's almost every lap that he says. Dave Ellens just told him it is your call. This is on you. If you want to pit, come pit. We'll support you. We'll put on right side tires. If you want to stay out, then stay out.
And listen, Eric Phillips, that report on the 18, that is a huge decision for a crew chief to just say, you know what? I'm not going to do it. I mean, he lives in the Xfinity world. He's concerned about his Cup driver, but Eric Phillips on that 18, Jeff, his whole race is right now, right here. Very mature move to say, you know what, it's not worth it. I'm going to make the decision. I have the tire information. I know what they look like. Different call here in the 9. It seems like they're going to let the driver make the decision because apparently it hasn't been a wear issue. Now they have a vibration, which could be a tire issue.
And we haven't been this far in a run. That's the whole problem is they really haven't run this far, so they really don't know what the tire wear looks like on a long run. So that makes this whole conversation even more difficult because you're not dealing with all the information. But Paul Menard, he's been running these guys down. This 2-car, he has been the fastest race car on the racetrack for the last 5 or 6 laps. He's come from a long way back to just pass Elliott Sadler for 3rd position.
Well, and DJ, if I'm the crew chief on the 2, I'm hearing that same information out of the 9. While it's an awful thing to take advantage of someone who's having a trouble, that's racing, right? So I'm motivating my driver saying, listen, the 9 is worried about his tire. The 22's trying to ride behind him. Get up there, push them, make them even more uncomfortable.
Let's listen into the 9 spotter. And we have some technical difficulties there as they are.
Fastest 22, catch a lot of lappers up your head.
This lap traffic is going to play a factor. If the 9 and the 22 are going to get to him first, will that benefit Paul Menard? There's 3 wide in front of him, so Paul Menard with only 9 laps left may need a little help to get to them. He may be getting ready to get it right here.
William Byron, hard left turn, going by these lap cars, trying to use some of them to help draft down the backstretch and into turn 3. 8 laps to go. We go NASCAR nonstop. Tomorrow at 2:30 p.m. Eastern on NBC, NASCAR Monster Energy Cup Series racing from Indianapolis. That telecast presented by Golden Corral. The intensity picks up at the Brickyard. The race to the playoffs continues. And this intensity definitely picking up also. Today, 16 lead changes. Already a record. You look back at the years that they have raced here, and it's the first time there have been double-digit lead changes. And it's William Byron that's out front right now. But with every turn, every time he turns left, you almost cringe thinking, okay, don't let it be a tire issue. Don't let that car go hard to the right. But that's got to be what William Byron is thinking also if he still has that vibration.
Yeah, but as he runs there, and the more laps that he runs, and this doesn't get any worse, then he builds a little more confidence that there's just something that's not going to be catastrophic for him in that type situation, because otherwise he's smart enough to understand that, you know, you got a 2.5-mile racetrack. If this continues to get worse and worse and worse, then we're going to have an eventual problem. But he seems pretty comfortable with it right now.
Parker, he's got a half-second lead over Cup drivers Logano and Menard.
Exactly, and DJ, you kind of talk about where he's maybe getting more comfortable, but remember, you can't back off here. Remember this package where at times alone and in qualifying, these guys are flat out around this racetrack. So fans out there might be wondering, well, why doesn't he just back off a little bit in the corners? Maybe, you know, let the car roll more. They're not doing that. They're in the throttle. So this is a very tough position to be in as a young driver trying to evaluate the condition of that tire, because you have to push on, one, to keep the lead, and two, because there is nowhere to lift around here.
Listen, with 5 laps to go, Paul Menard's a factor in this race. He has run these guys down from a long way back. One or two things. He either needs to clear this 22 car, get by him and run William Byron down, or push that 22 car to try to catch William Byron. Right here you see he's making a move. He will clear him getting into turn 3. He has a shot to win this race.
Paul Menard moves up to second. Now, less than 5 laps to go, just over 4 laps to go for William Byron. Can he stay out in front of Paul Menard now?
Byron's never been here before. He doesn't know that you're supposed to do anything except run wide open around here. That's from the very first laps that he was on the racetrack. But has he abused this tire a little bit too much in staying out here, taking the lead back a couple of different times? Has Paul Menard saved a little something and have something for him right here in these last couple of laps?
4 laps to go. Look at them go through the lap traffic.
What a difficult spot to catch a lap car.
He just rode through the middle like hey, this is what I'm supposed to do.
And now the gap closes again. Here comes the 2. Paul Menard. Paul Menard with a lot of run now. Had the momentum. Ducks in behind the 9 as they get ready to make that left turn.
This is where we're going to see how much Byron, are his tires giving up. Can Paul Menard make a run off of turn 4 or off of turn 2 that's going to benefit him down these long straightaways?
Paul Menard can just break even with him in the corners. That will give him an advantage down the straightaways with that draft. So that's what he's got to do. He's got to inch up corner by corner, straightaway by straightaway to ultimately get that position. It's not going to happen in one straightaway. It's going to take a few to make this happen.
3 laps to go. Paul Menard has closed the gap now. Paul Menard's so good at this racetrack, has won the Brickyard 400, his lone Cup win. Can he add an Xfinity Series win to that resume?
You see Byron doing everything that he can to break any kind of momentum, any drafting effect that Paul Menard may be getting off of his car.
Looks to the outside. Is he going to 3?
That block hurt William Byron's entry into turn 3. He entered very shallow. That helped Paul Menard on the exit of 3.
Through 4 and back onto the front stretch. This time by, it'll be 2 laps to go. They both were on pit road at lap 57. The other question is, do they have enough fuel to make it all the way to the end?
William Byron doing a nice job, especially into turn 1. It's easy, especially as you're trying to block someone, to do exactly what Jeff pointed out he had to do in turn 3. But now he's making a wide arc into that. That's keeping Paul Menard at bay right there, not letting him get the run that's going to allow him to get up beside.
DJ, you're exactly right. He's making his car, essentially he's making his car wider by making that big arc.
And now he's blocking. William Byron blocking that time as they go into 3. Byron just in front of Paul Menard. The two have separated themselves by almost 2 seconds. They're in front of Logano.
We've seen the advantage for Paul Menard is down the back straightaway. He's got to try to break even with William through 1 and 2 to get that big run down the back straightaway.
1 lap to go. Sponsored by Credit One Bank. The white flag in the air. Menard looking to the inside, then the outside. William Byron blocking both times before they got into turn 1.
Menard tried to get to his bumper, see if he could loosen him up right there at that point in time. Here's his last chance, really, of making this happen.
Got a good run off turn 2.
Down the backstretch they go for the final time. William Byron, a car length in front of Paul Menard. Byron now coming up on lap traffic. Will that affect him as they go through the final turn? He goes to the inside of the 52. Will Paul Menard have anything for him? Coming out of the front stretch. The first time he's ever been to Indianapolis Motor Speedway. Will he be able to hold him off? William Byron wins at Indy.
Good job, man. Hell of a job. Awesome job, guys. Awesome. I believe that tire held on, Dave. That was awesome, man.
It was 2 weeks ago where William Byron thought he had won at the biggest stage, Daytona. And in his first ever start at Indianapolis Motor Speedway, the 19-year-old is going to be able to kiss the bricks.
Yeah!
William Byron, I mentioned 19 years old. He is the youngest driver to win a NASCAR race at Indianapolis. Win number 3 already in the 2017 season. He won at the short track in Iowa. He won at Daytona 2 weeks ago. And now he wins at Indianapolis. Again, a young man who spent most of his life, as far as in his racing life, on iRacing, does a pretty good burnout.
Yeah, a very tight spot to be doing that too. Yeah, just think back to Michigan whenever he lost by inches to Denny Hamlin. I think the learning experience that he did there, you know, we're starting to run out of superlatives to talk about this young man. He's just so very talented, and the different types of racetracks that he's won on. Almost won at Michigan, a 2-mile track, wins on a 7/8 mile track at Iowa, goes to Daytona, wins a 2.5 mile track, and comes to Indianapolis, a flat track. First time ever with this package, and gets the job done.
He may not realize how far he is away from the start-finish line as he climbs out of the car to celebrate with the fans. And look at the elation. William Byron continuing to accomplish amazing things in his young career. Marty.
It is incredible what this young man has done. I think the bigger question is what can this young man not do? The fans here at Indianapolis, and you get to go kiss the bricks later. Did you ever dream as a 19-year-old you would have a Daytona win and an Indianapolis when you told me you had such a reverence for the history the moment you came through the tunnel here?
Yeah, man. I just have to thank God. It's really amazing to be here. I got a lot of great people around me, and it's very humbling to be at Indianapolis and win. I can't believe that tire held on, but that was awesome, man. That was so fun.
This is hallowed ground. What do you want to say to these fans? Because Victory Lane in Indianapolis is a very special place, William.
Man, it's so cool. This is awesome. I mean, I've never been to a Brickyard 400 or an Indy 500, but watched it as a kid, and man, it takes a lot to win these races, and to win here is so special. Just thanks to all the guys on this Liberty University team. To get Liberty a win this year is really cool too. So can't wait for the rest of this year, but we're definitely going to celebrate this one and kiss the bricks.
You got a date with some bricks, but first you have a date with Dave Burns in Victory Lane. Congratulations.
Sounds good. Thank you.
All right, the tire held on Rick somehow, and that's what he still can't believe, but William Byron getting pretty good at this winning thing here in the Xfinity Series.
How amazing. A young man who has never been here. He said he's never seen a Brickyard 400. He's never been here in person for an Indy 500 win. He is able to win at one of the biggest stages. He wins at Indianapolis Motor Speedway, and he'll be in Victory Lane next. Welcome back to Indy. Junior Motorsports is headed to Victory Lane at Indianapolis Motor Speedway. Young William Byron has never seen another race at this racetrack, and team owner Dale Earnhardt Jr. will be one of the first to greet him as he gets ready to climb out of the car. Actually, he's going to grab the phone. and a big handshake there. What a run for William Byron. Let's go to Dave.
And in Victory Lane now for William Byron, as little work going on before he puts it in gear for the final time. And he's getting that phone call. Didn't see the phone slip in there. There's always someone on the other line. Mr. H is calling him because he's not at Victory Lane here. So we will run over and find, where did that car owner, the other car owner, slip off to? There he is over there. I'll slip over to Junior real quick while he is going to get out of the car here. Dale Jr. is getting ready to qualify, but he was back in the motor coach watching this all happen. How impressive was this kid again?
William is so impressive, man. Inside the car, obviously, the last several weeks he's been able to show everybody what he's capable of. I think he's had, he's had a lot of experience and some good stuff. He drove some great trucks with Kyle and learned a lot there. And Dave and the guys are getting some real good cars here too. So just real proud of him. He's done an awesome job. Excited for his future and the rest of the season for him.
Big day for Junior Motorsports too. They came in with so much speed, and William, at the end, there was a little bit of concern there with your tire. You felt a vibration, so how did you manage it to get to the end and win?
Yeah, I don't know, man. We had vibrations for probably the last 20 laps or so, and it kind of leveled off. And I went through, I'm not a tire expert, so I was just trying to think about what it would do, but I don't know, it hung on, and just thankful for that, and that's what ultimately won us the race. I think we were able to stay out there, had a super fast car, and was able to pass pretty much anyone, so it was a really good day for us. It's awesome.
I want you to look up. I want you to look around. You're in Victory Lane at the Brickyard.
It's so cool. This is it's an incredible time just to be here and be able to kiss the bricks, and just thankful for everyone at JRM, everyone that supports this car, Liberty University, Exalta, Chevy, everybody. So really cool.
They came in strong. They ended strong. Byron in victory lane.
Amazing that this racetrack was opened in 1909, 108 years ago, and William Byron, just 19 years old, comes to the racetrack for the very first time. And think about the incredible names in the sport of auto racing that he joins in victory lane.
Yeah, just amazing. And I will have to say, at 19, you're not thinking as much about what that tire might do and how it may feel than you would be at 39 or something, you know, when you haven't had that. But what an incredible talent. And I just think back, he's 19 years old, winning Daytona and Indianapolis. I didn't drive a race car till I was 20 years old. So this young man has got just a huge future in front of him, and another one of these young drivers we talk about that's going to be around NASCAR and making a name for himself for a long time.
Elliott Sadler, the stage win, finishes 4th. And look at the points lead he has over the cut line, which is 12th. Brendan Gaughan right there on that line. Krista Kyle coming up next. We will hear from plenty more drivers as the celebration for William Byron will continue for quite some time.
This copyrighted telecast may not be reproduced, retransmitted, or used in any form without the authorized written consent of NASCAR Broadcasting. NASCAR would like to thank all of our fans for your support, and we hope you enjoy today's broadcast.
Changes to 16. That's what I've got on. It's awesome. Oh, he'll do it. He's going to do it before we're even back, probably.
Here we go. Oh, hey, you went to Checkered flag?
This is the first time they've had more passes for the lead than the amount of underwear I brought up here.
Yep, you got it. That's the shot. Those fans, that's awesome. I wish there were more hanging there, but that's cool.
He's like, I'm real hot.
Yeah.
Here at Indianapolis Motor Speedway, you are about to see the moment. "19-year-old William Byron, in his first ever race at Indianapolis Motor Speedway, is a winner. And to the winner goes the tradition that our Dale Jarrett started of kissing the bricks. And you don't have to be, I don't think, necessarily a race fan to understand this moment. And if you don't, if you say, what's the big deal? The big deal is he just started racing a few years ago. People wait their entire lives to win at places like Indianapolis Motor Speedway and Daytona International Speedway, and he has done both in the last month, Kyle.
Yeah, the big deal is he's winning races. He's winning cup races or Xfinity races, but he's winning against competition. Joey Logano, Kyle Busch, Paul Menard. We saw all these guys challenge him today, and we've seen it through the last 3 or 4 weeks, and he continues to win. I think the coolest kissing of the bricks ever was Dale Jarrett, the first one. But that may be the second coolest kissing of the bricks I've ever seen. One individual, one kid, so young, out there in the middle of Indianapolis Motor Speedway on the front stretch all by himself. That was a cool moment for me to watch.
Well, you know what it really jumps out to me, Kyle, is the emotion. You can see it on his face. A kid that dreamed about being here. It's something that reminds us it doesn't matter what form of racing that you come from. Indianapolis Motor Speedway is a very special place. It's an event. It's this monumental track and a feat that he just did, like you said, to beat those Cup drivers, to be out there, to see that smile and that joy in his face is a big thing.
It is, and that's the deal. We talk so much about it in the Xfinity, and Xfinity where names are made. Let me tell you something. William Byron is making that tagline come true, where names are made. That is for sure for the Xfinity Series. What I really liked was Marty, as he gets out of the car, Marty says, "How do you feel?" And he said, "It's humbling," which is a mature answer. And then he gives the kid answer. Man, this is cool. You know what I mean? And that's the kid in him, and that's what you've got to like. You know, we as fans are having the opportunity to see the sport through a fresh set of eyes. We get so jaded to a Jimmy Johnson, to a Kevin Harvick, to these guys that win so much and are such great champions. But we're seeing the sport new through a kid's eyes.
And Jimmy Johnson, Kevin Harvick, just as appreciative of what this means, who have raced here. But again, because they almost make it look easy, and to see someone like William Byron, now the youngest to ever win any sort of NASCAR race here at this iconic venue, it just, as you say the words and as you see the images, you can't help but get chills because you realize how big it is. This is the future of NASCAR racing.
I love this live look that we're taking into victory lane. You know, you always wonder exactly what's happening in that moment. I spent part of the race in turn 1 watching with a bunch of fans, and I can tell you, William Byron has a lot of fans out there already. The fans know him. It was a cool thing to watch him pass Kyle Busch and to hear those fans erupt. Now, part of it is because he's beating Kyle Busch, and that was a big thing. But like you said, Kyle, these are some of the best Cup drivers in the world. And he got out there, and they couldn't get around him.
Yeah. And I'm going to say this. I'm going to start calling him Lord Byron. I've called him Lord Byron since he first came up because I couldn't remember his first name. I'm going to start calling him Lord Byron because he is writing a new book on this sport right now. He is writing the history, winning some of these races at this age and doing what he's doing. It is absolutely amazing. I'm going to say, you know, I know Rick's not rethinking that 88. And who he put in that 88 and Alex Bowman. But this kid appears to be ready because I am telling you, he is just smooth as silk.
Well, you talk about it, and he's a guy that knows that racing Xfinity. I think William Byron is someone who wants to be an Xfinity Series champion, to keep racing with the best before he's thrown into Cup. And that's something that we've heard that's an interest that he has, is making sure he does it. But Lord Byron would be a good nickname. But so what? How about Big Block Byron? Did you see him there? I mean, the moves, to watch him move all over the track and to block Paul Menard the way he did, I like Big Block.
You see the crew celebrating there. We do want to point out Monster Energy Cup qualifying is coming up, so that's why we don't have the big celebration of kissing the bricks. You can bet those guys will be taking some photos later on. But as you see, Indianapolis Motor Speedway victory lane, so special as this crew celebrates. William Byron, 19 years old, the winner just a few moments ago, racing for his college. He races for the college he attends. He takes classes online. Liberty University is sponsor. And there's Chase Elliott coming to say, another gentleman, a young man who knows the importance of winning here. His dad did it.
I guess they're just opening up Victory Lane for kids, as Kids Day, and because this is what it seems like. I am telling you, this is an amazing moment in this sport. This was a great, great, great race today.
It was a great race.
If you don't like this race, you just don't like NASCAR, and you just don't like NASCAR racing, because this is the direction that NASCAR needs to go, and it was a great race all day long.
We saw passing. We saw real jockeying. I mean, you made the point that they had more passes for the lead than you brought underwear.
That's true. That's a fact.
First time ever.
First time ever.
It was a great race, in part because those rule changes we told you about at the start of the day. We'll recap some of that and hear from some of those Cup drivers that William Byron beat today at Indianapolis Motor Speedway, and get you ready for Monster Energy Cup racing when we return. The 9 victorious with William Byron behind the wheel at the greatest racetrack in motorsports. Go ahead and pinch yourself, William Byron, because that's a 7-time champion, Jimmy Johnson, coming to find you in victory lane at Indianapolis Motor Speedway. What a great day of racing for the Xfinity Series. William Byron, your winner. He beats half a dozen Monster Energy Cup drivers, including a former Brickyard winner in Paul Menard, who spoke a few moments ago with our Parker Kligerman.
Paul Menard comes home second here at Indianapolis Motor Speedway, and Paul, so close to being able to maybe get past William Byron. What did you need to make the pass?
Yeah, he was beating me in turn 1. I was better in 2, 3, and 4. You know, Arrow, turn 1's the slowest corner. Actually had to come quite a bit out of the throttle, and he was able to carry a little more speed through there. So our car was too loose on the short run. Definitely a good long run car, and I think a lot of guys started getting tight on exit. I was able to keep rotating and just carrying the speed down the straightaways.
You've won the Brickyard 400. How important or how amazing would it be with this package here today? What did you feel from it? What did you think of the racing, and what have it meant to you to win here?
Yeah, I mean, I kissed the bricks once, and I definitely want to do it again. No doubt about that. But the package is close. Leader still has an advantage. But it was, I don't know, fans will have to tell us if it was better or not. I couldn't tell.
Paul Menard comes up second here at the Brickyard.
Well, the numbers certainly seem to say it was better in terms of lead changes. We were watching the race, Kyle, and I know there was many moments where you sort of screamed out in watching. I mean, 3 wide going into corners here at Indianapolis Motor Speedway.
Here's what we've seen in the past. We've seen them drop the green flag and the leader be on the back stretch and the rest of the pack be on the front stretch within about 10 or 15 laps. We did not see that today. We saw them spread out 3 and 4 wide all the way from the wall, maybe sometimes 5 wide down the front stretch. Yeah, they had to get in line. We saw William Byron and those guys go 3 wide through one corner and heard Jeff Burton and Steve Letarte and Dale Jarrett say, hey, if you don't know you're not supposed to do that, you go ahead, you stick it in there, and you do it. And that's what we saw today. We saw these young guys take control of this package. We talked so much about it. Would this package benefit some of these younger drivers? And I think when you look at it, it did.
William Byron, the blocking that he was doing there with Paul Menard and the ability for both cars to race that hard and to use that much of the track, that to me said for sure that new package was a huge step in the right direction for racing here at Indy. I loved it.
Yeah, and right, you're a car guy, so obviously whether you were watching in turn 1 or in a creek somewhere, I mean, it sounds like you were impressed.
All right. Oh, yeah, for sure. I mean, you really could. And honestly, sitting in the stands in turn 1, you could see that excitement. You heard it in the people's voices that I was sitting with. Those fans said, like, this is great. We love this. Because really, you could see everybody moving around on that front stretch into the turns. It was great.
Well, we said at the start of the day that Dale Earnhardt Jr., the teams that he owns here in the Xfinity Series, they were all fast. 4 teams. They all started in the top 5. Justin Allgaier at one point was the fastest car out on the track, but he had a rough day, and we're going to kind of walk you through this. This is on a pit stop. Watch the Jackman.
Yeah, this was really bad, and I'm telling you, when they played the in-car audio from Justin, you could hear in his voice. That's the first time I've ever done that, and he said, "You can bet it'll never happen to me again."
Yeah, I mean, and that Jackman, by the way, was okay. And here you see, I mean, just a fast car. He goes around Joey Logano. No question he had speed, but watch what happens on this pit stop.
Yeah, he's over the line here, and you see the guys motion for him. They take the lugs loose on the right front.
So they'd already started to stop.
They had already started to stop. And then he knows somewhere, either someone told him, we don't know, but he knows if I can get back out there, they're going to close pit road. It's the end of the segment. But he runs this tire off. Now, this is where there was great communication. If that tire comes off, he's going to be fined. His crew chief is going to be suspended for 4 races, the tire changer and the tire carrier. So he stops and leaves the tire on the car and ends his day.
But no question, a tough day for Justin Allgaier, driver of that 7. He spoke a few moments ago with our Parker Kligerman.
Justin Allgaier had a very fast car throughout the weekend. Looked like you were in the right position coming down to stage 2, pitting under green, and then it all started to fall apart there. What exactly happened under that pit stop?
Everything, unfortunately. You know, I got run into from behind on our first pit stop and took out some of my guys, and that's probably as a driver, that's the last thing you ever want to have happen. I'd rather wreck 1,000 times myself than to hit any of these guys. And then, you know, right there, I got the right front outside the box, and it's, you know, just calamity, and it was all my fault. I took off. Luckily, the tire was still on there, so I mean, that's the plus. The unfortunate part is just to save the damage of what it could have done to the car. Had it come off, you know, that was the last thing we wanted, was for the tire to come off of there. So just, man, a terrible day for our Byron's Ice Cream Chevy. Had a race car that was capable of running up front there and led some laps, but Super proud of William Byron. I mean, that's awesome to see him go to victory lane. I think Elliott was fourth, so I feel like we could have been right there with him, and it's just disappointing when you get that opportunity.
And in that first pit stop where you actually ran into your pit crew guy, your jack man, and he was actually able to continue pitting, what happened there? Did you got hit from behind and just suddenly was coming with too much speed? Is that what went down?
Yeah, I was already on the brakes, and the car behind me was still pushing me. And my jack man, unfortunately, was far enough out there that if I would have tried to steer right, I would have ended up, taking him out completely right in the center of the nose. But anybody that says these picker guys aren't incredible athletes, that right there is a testament. I mean, these guys, I hit him with a 3,500-pound race car, and he had to sit one pit stop out because they were waiting on a doctor to get down here, and he was actually mad because he wanted to go in and pit that stop. So just unfortunate end to a good day.
Justin Allgaier, unfortunately, ended up 35th on a very fast day.
And why is Justin Allgaier such a great guy? Because he's more concerned about his team guys than he was about where he finished in that race. And remember, Justin does have one of those tickets into the playoffs because he has already won this year. You see the activity continuing there in Victory Lane as you look down upon the pagoda, but we're not done with track activity here at Indy because Monster Energy Cup qualifying is coming up next. One of the drivers about to jump in his car is Chase Elliott. We saw him stop by Victory Lane, and right now he's with Kelly.
Yeah, we sure did, and that's what I was just going to ask him about. You made the trip to go over to Victory Lane to say something to William Byron. Why was that important to you?
Well, a lot of those guys I actually worked with at JRM, and I got to know William a little bit over the past year or so. And, man, such a great guy, and I mean, he's setting the world on fire right now, so that's really cool for them. And Chevrolet, obviously, Hendrick Engine Department has a lot to do with their program at JRM as well. So, and in the 9, which I spent a lot of time in over there at JRM too. So, special group of guys for sure. Dave Ellens and William are looking good over there, and certainly pulling for him. So, happy for him. That's so cool, man. I mean, to win at Indy in his first try is, I can't tell you how hard that is to do, and he did such a good job today. So, very happy for him, and hopefully we can get the old Napa 24 to do the same tomorrow.
What did you think about the racing that we saw throughout that Xfinity Series race?
Yeah, it was definitely different for sure. I don't know what, I'm sure the gears are turning with the folks that make all the decisions way higher above my pay grade at NASCAR. So I'm sure their wheels are turning, and I don't think anybody would be surprised if we see some changes on down the road. But it was interesting for sure. We just need to make sure we think about it really good before we make any big changes moving forward, because that's a big change, and anything that we do to these cars is going to make a big difference, and we need to make sure we make the right change and not just a quick one.
Well, let's look at the task at hand, of course, qualifying here, and we know track position's key. What did you guys focus on during your practices, and what are your expectations?
Yeah, you know, we had a decent first practice, I thought. We haven't really been spectacular. I didn't feel like through either one of the practices. I thought we were better in the first practice than what we were in the second one. So we're going to backpedal a little bit from where we ended and go back to where we ended that first one instead of the second one, and hopefully we'll be a little closer to what we thought we were. So we'll go from there and see. This is a tough place, and a tough place to qualify for sure.
All right, thank you, Chase. Krista?
Thanks, Kelly. And I know, Rutledge, you were with Chase the other night at the Fan Fest. He was having some fun with the fans. But the future of Hendrick Motorsports, so bright with youth. I mean, you look at William Byron, who races for Dale Earnhardt Jr. Alex Bowman recently announced that he's going to replace Dale Jr., and then Chase Elliott. These guys are so young.
They are. And you know, you see why they're such quality at Hendrick, at Junior Motorsports. Humility is a big thing. What we heard from Justin Allgaier, the biggest thing that jumped out to me was like, hey, that's me. I screwed up. We all have bad days, but he's moving forward. You know, it takes guys having bad pit stops and having bad days to you can be someone like William Byron or Justin or Chase even. You know, that's what's cool is that organization has been so good at understanding there's going to be highs, there's going to be lows, but look forward. Think about the positive things. And to see Chase out there the other night with the kids, that, you know, we laugh. He is a kid. I mean, I know he's an adult on paper, but y'all know, like, he's young. All these guys are. But that's what's cool is we're seeing that generation come up, and it's, you know, it's the guys that we've seen them bring their kids around all these years, and now we're talking about them.
Yeah, I don't know if these guys are young or we're just old. So let's be honest about that. And to be Rick Hendrick. You know what I mean? I mean, I start with Jimmy. If I'm Rick Hendrick, I start with Jeff Gordon, and I go through the cycle until I get to Jimmy Johnson. And now I'm sitting here in my office, and I'm looking out over my cars, and I'm seeing Alex Bowman and William Byron and Chase Elliott, and I've still got Jimmy Johnson. I've still got some of these other guys that are here and doing their stuff. The future of Hendrick Motorsports is unlimited. Is unlimited. And I'm going to say this before we close on the Xfinity stuff. The future of racing, period. We know the guys in the Cup Series, but I'm going to go down this list. I was going to go down it a minute ago. Cole Custer, Matt Tiff, guys like that finished in the top 10, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10.
Brennan Poole,
guys
Man,
like that.
he's awesome.
That is incredible. But I'm telling you something. To watch these guys come out and win on the big stage like this, those are superstars. Tomorrow, we're going to see 40 of our best superstars out here run. And I'm telling you, for Dale Jr., his last race, for that 42 car right there, for everything that's going on out here right now with Kyle Larson and stuff, this could be their year. This could be the year that these guys put their name on that trophy.
And the reason they're all getting in their cars because they're about to qualify, a bit of a different schedule. They're qualifying here in just a few moments. The starting field will be set for tomorrow's race here at the Brickyard. And this is big. We talk about a big stage, Rut. This is about as big as it gets.
It doesn't get any bigger. And we know that 42 car has everything it needs to have Kyle Larson down there kissing the bricks tomorrow. But we've talked about the prestige this track has. I mean, all these guys want to win. Nobody's going to be handing anything away to the 42 car.
Nobody wants to win more than Kyle Busch. 3P.
That's it.
Can he do it?
True. All right, Rick, Steve, and Jeff will take over as we get you ready for Cup Series qualifying here at Indy coming up when we return.